Kaylee.
Let's see if the void echoes back today. Oh, and we have a little special guest. Her name is Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse is joining us this time. She very sleepy.
So sleepy. She ran in a field today. And so she's pooped.
Oh no, so sleepy.
Oh no. So,
Well,
today we're going to be talking about chapter 16 through 20. Kaylee, what were your initial thoughts of these chapters?
I'm so sorry. Well, first of all, there's a lot going on in these chapters.
There really is. This is a long, heavy one.
These were some
specifically 16 and 17. Sorry.
Yes,
continue.
yes, specifically 16
They're
and 17.
heavy.
I would absolutely agree. This was at the time where, like, I don't even know if I can say it with a straight face, honestly. I loved it because I thought we saw, like, so much character development in Violet specifically.
Yeah.
And to see who she really valued in friendships and thoughts and ideas and what she really valued and what she thought would help her grow as a person and as a character in this world. And I thought that was so cool to see within, like, the next couple of chapters because,
I agree.
Yeah, the dragons are here and Taryn is
in her head at all points of every day. And she can't shield him out yet.
No.
And he doesn't shield against her.
Yeah, but
like hunger and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun to see them kind of getting used to being in each other's heads all the time.
Yeah. I kind of enjoyed that. But, you know, starting in chapter 16, you know, the board is arguing whether or not she gets to keep both dragons.
Yeah.
That is, like, the big thing. She comes back, she gives two dragons names, and everybody's up in arms because this is unheard of.
Yeah, nobody's never happened before.
Nobody's ever bonded two dragons before, especially on record. And so it's very interesting to see the crazy, like, upset that really did give it, you know?
It really did. And like the last chapter said, like, oh, hell, bro. You good?
Yeah.
You seem so, you're like...
Yeah, no, it's just like all hell really did break loose. I was just like contemplating about all of the hell that was happening.
Oh, okay, I'm caught up. But but also, like, you know, the dragons are getting frustrated because when they come back, you know, she's able to keep them, and Taryn was like, dragons don't abide by human law.
Yeah, it was definitely a big thing because, you know, as we had mentioned, this has never happened before. And so when they're talking, all of their dragons are shielded out. Like, nobody, not even the higher ups, can talk to their dragons to see what's happening, which is such an interesting thing specifically in this book that sometimes happens, but rarely ever happens because most of the time they are fully in their heads all the time, constantly.
And they, no, there is shielding, which is touched on a bit later. But that doesn't shield. Like, you could still open the door and talk to your dragon at any point. Like, shielding is very different from being blocked. Yeah.
And the fact that the dragons blocked their humans out during this time was very interesting to note. You know, they're on the field and, you know, she's still refusing to be mended. She's still refusing to get any type of stitches. And, you know, we see Jack, who just from that encounter where she did, you know, stab him in the shoulder and really kind of fuck him up.
Yeah, he needs surgery now, and he's, you know, now like, oh, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna, like, now he actually has a death threat. Like, oh, I'm gonna murder you. Like, that, how dare you do that to me and my self-image, and how everybody's gonna be thinking of me. And again, still with he is 100 miles per hour all of the time.
Yeah, just like he never actually stops. And then, you know, Taryn kind of mentions this offhandedly and just says, hey, make sure you stay with the wing leader to Violet.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, he must have met squad leader. And I'm like, Violet, I might murder you. Just to let you know. Shut up about Yeah,
I mean,
know. We don't
see,
like Dane.
but Violet is so invested in Dane because, you know, they're childhood friends and it's a big deal. And so, like, you know, after Taryn says that to her, you know, she's obviously like, oh, must mean, you know, the squad leader, Dane. And lo and behold, who do you think comes over to talk to her?
Mr. Dane Atos himself.
I like how you call him Dame Atos. His last name smells...
Atos.
Yeah,
Did I say Atos?
I was like, when you say Atos, I was like, wow, we're really American. It's an Atos. Like, I'm sorry. Dane Atos is coming along in the book, and here we all go. Yeah, Violet, giddy up.
I know, she is scary. Atos. I meant Atos.
I know, but I had to point it out because I was like,
that was wild.
Anyway, so now Dane and Violet are talking, and she's also like seeing Ree and Riddick across the field, and they're so excited because they both bonded, which is amazing that most of their squad did end up bonding and making it back to the field because you know, it's rare. You never know what happens out there. A lot of people die in this book. So.
Yeah, like how we saw, like, what, 1 or 2 people fall off just flying back to the field. They bonded and then they fell off their dragon and then
then they died. And that was kind of it. It was the, oh, wow, I got a dragon. And then, oh, no.
And I'm thinking I can't even imagine. Like, imagine being, oh, my God, like, I bonded a dragon. Like, I was so scared I wasn't going to. And then you're falling off your dragon to your death. Like, I can't...
Yeah.
That would be awful.
Yeah, and just also, like, the fact that I think it goes to show, like, a little bit of, like, Taryn's, like, humanity and soft side that even though Violet did fall off, he caught her.
Yeah.
And he, you know, we watched the other dragons not care to catch the others.
Yeah.
So I think that is very interesting to know.
It very much shows, like you said, his humanity, and, like, he really does... He lets his heart lead his way.
Yes.
He really much does, and you see it as the series goes on.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
So, you know, Dane is there, and Dane and Violet are now talking because Dane really can't believe that she, you know, bonded one of the strongest dragons in the realm.
Yeah.
And let alone that dragon was going to be there, and she's kind of explaining, like, what happened between the encounter between her and Jack and Oren and the others.
Tynan? No, Tynan died at the... No, Tynan.
It is Tynan. It's Tynan, Oren, and Jack. Those were the 3.
Oh, you're right. Tynan died there.
Yes, Tynan did die. And so she is talking to Dane, and he's like... He asks, like, openly, like... Violet... Do you trust me? And you know, he's just like trying to like pull her in closer and
touching her and
and then also, but not only that, is he is during this conversation he's very scared for Violet and is like, hey, just to let you know, this is what I think they're talking about over there, and you're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to choose between Indarna and Taryn, and I think you should choose Indarna because she is safer. And I honestly thought that the reason why he was pushing for Indarna was just infuriating. I was kind of mad about the whole situation.
I know you're very keeping it in.
I'm trying to keep it in and not yell because it's so hard.
I think you should yell.
But I'm sorry. The fact that he was like, you have to pick her because she's smaller. She's not going to be able to carry you into battle. You'll never see battle because she can't handle it.
I hate this man.
They're going to keep you safe because you're going to always be grounded. Like, you'll never have to fly ever. And I'm like, that is not the point of having a fucking dragon.
Like, even if you're not going into battle, I would love to fly on a dragon. So
absolutely.
Sorry. If I had a dragon, I would fly it literally everywhere.
Yeah.
I'd fly it across the street.
I agree. But, like, the fact that he's just like, no, like, you have to do it. And, like, really pushing her to make this, like, penultimate decision that could really alter the course of where she goes in this book and, like, her entire life and what plays out and what happens and all of this stuff. And I just think, like, it's kind of crazy because... Then he just, like, drops this bombshell on her that she doesn't even know about. She's like, no, you have to choose Indarna because if you don't, you're gonna be chained to Xaden for the rest of your life. And that bombshell on her when she was like, oh, what? What do you mean? I'm gonna be chained to Xaden? Oh my god.
Oh no. And they're chained because they're the dragons. His dragon Sigale and Terran, now Violet's dragon, are mated pairs.
Yes, they are mated pairs. And it is like known that mated pairs cannot stay separate for a long period of time.
Yes. So even once they are in the field and Violet's like, hey, I can get rid of Xaden, no, she can't. They're going to have to be literally wherever one moves, the other one has to move.
Yeah, because I think like it is so interesting how dragons mated pairs really coincide with where they're at and where those dragons are stationed and where those people go with them, because if one is far away and one is like closer to Bethgaiath, the one closer needs to fly out, or the one that's further away needs to fly back in, because they can't be apart. Because I mean I think they say it later on, but something happens that's like not really great. Like they can't tolerate it almost.
Yeah, like they get
like their hearts hurt.
Yeah.
Their hearts hurt from being so far apart. It's kind of fucking cute though.
It really is. And it's we don't want the dragons' hearts to hurt. They're so we love the dragons.
We really do.
We
really love that. And then, she's like has that bombshell dropped, and she's still like going through the story of what happened like between her and Jack and stuff, and she just like mentions that he was there, like that he like was watching, and he kind of explodes, and he is like, oh my gosh,
he rigged it.
Yeah,
what did he do? And she's like, nothing, he literally was just standing there.
Yeah.
She doesn't mention the one step forward.
I mean, no, she doesn't. But she's definitely holding that in.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, actually, she kind of does, like, briefly mention it. Because when she says that he's there, he's like, what happened? Did he step in?
And she says no.
Yeah, no.
Sigale did.
And then, he comes in. I love Xaden. Xaden comes in. I'm going to have to read this, like, a little excerpt thing. Because it was so funny when he came in to this chapter. Good. I can't. I'm so sorry.
You love this man.
Which one?
Xaden.
I really do enjoy how they portrayed him. I think I really like the emotionally unavailable, suave, like very nonchalant guy.
Yeah.
I really do like that. But also I love her inner thoughts. I really do think that her inner thoughts about Xaden make Xaden more attractive.
Yes.
Because as a woman, I'm sure that we've all had like little crushes and squealing about, whoever we're into. But I just think that it makes it more fun that we get to hear everything that she says.
And it's like, I feel like, stereotypically we all know like men kind of do that. And it's not very much written out that women also, get horny. They find people attractive. Like it's very taboo.
Yeah, and it's even though we think about that.
Yeah, but like talk about it out loud to people that aren't your friends. I feel like, but like seeing it in media, I kind of mean, it's kind of like, because I've talked about Kaylee's talked about it with me, like you talk about it with your friends and stuff, but like in media, it's very like girls are quiet, like they don't like, it's always the men kind of going on to them, which is like, but it's fun to see it in her head and like, oh no, like this is how women can think.
When Xaden comes and interrupts like her talking to Dane, it says, heat rushes through every vein, wakes every nerve ending. I hate the reaction of my body at the sight of him, but I can't deny it. His appeal is so fucking inconvenient. And I know, like, listen, I really can't read any of those lines with, like, a straight face or without doing a voice, because Honestly, it's hilarious to me.
Oh my goodness! Did you?
Yeah,
hear that?
Was that hilarious?
Oh
Did you
my
agree?
goodness.
She agreed. She agreed. She agreed.
She really did.
But
Well,
also,
she is dead.
I loved the fact that that Zayden was interrupting her and Dane,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
she was immediately like,
Well,
"This was really fucking inconvenient."
Yeah,
but
like,
also like I'm still very turned on at the same time.
And it's also how inconvenient for me to be turned on by you.
Yeah, because you know, technically they are enemies. Like this is like he is very much still like
They technically are lovers to enemies. Nope, enemies to lovers.
I mean, is it? You don't know.
We don't know. The book's not over. The series is not
The book
done.
is not over. The series is not over, and
lovers
you don't
to
know.
enemies. Hear me out.
I mean,
I know you don't need to hear me out.
I know. We'll talk. We'll talk about it more. We'll talk about it more when we get there, because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that specific subject. I do. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that specific subject, and we'll get on. We'll get into it later, just because.
Absolutely.
You know. Like, you know, she's like fighting these feelings for Zayden and Dane, because she openly says like Dane is objectively hot.
Yep.
Dane is objectively hot, and she doesn't know why she doesn't necessarily like why she like feels this way about Zayden, and why she feels a certain way about Dane. But as the conversation goes on, Dane really like pushes into Zayden and is like, "You rigged this. You must have done this. Like you broke all these rules in the codex." And Zayden flips it around so quickly on Dane and is like, "If you saw her in that field," because you know Dane is going on about how Zayden, number one, must have rigged rigged the I don't know the
threshing.
Like rigged threshing so that Taryn would specifically bond Violet.
Yeah.
Because he was there, and then is like, "Well, you broke the codex because she said that you took a step. You were willing to intervene, and that means that you broke the codex," and going off about that. And Zayden so quickly flips it around and says, Let's put your money where your mouth is right now, sir. You say that you're willing to do absolutely everything to protect this woman right now standing in front of us.
The woman that you claim is your best friend.
Yeah, that is your best friend that you absolutely love and adore. Would you have taken that step?
Yeah, and you know, there's that moment of silence, and he goes, "But the rules."
It was just so interesting how like Zayden was so quick to turn it around on Dane and be like, "Are you willing to step up like for this woman that you claim is your best friend, that you love forever, and that you only want to ever protect?" And the fact that Dane really does say,
"No, because of the rules."
You got to say it better than that.
Oh, so sorry. But the rules.
There it is.
Yeah.
But the rules.
I can't.
Yeah, and you know that really hits a large blow for Violet.
Yeah, and I mean, she openly admits, she's like, "I'm not surprised, but I'm more disappointed than I thought I would be."
Yeah, she openly says like, "My heart hits the ground hearing him say that." Like it plummets. There was no like turning back. Like she just really was like, I
knew it, but hearing it and knowing it is very different.
Yes. I mean, I also agree with that. Like hearing somebody say, "I value the rules more than your life."
And you are childhood best friends.
And knowing the fact that I think the reason why it hurt even more is because Violet would break the rules to save his life.
Absolutely.
Like, no hesitation. She would be there for that man and just show up.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she heard it, and now it is really fully solidified in her brain that the rules do mean more to him than she does.
Yeah.
And
then
it hurts.
Yeah, and it hurts, and she also now probably realizes, like, he is overprotecting her because of the rules. Like, from what Zayden said, like, oh, like, maybe he was right. Does that
Do
make
you
sense?
want to read, like, that little section?
Sure.
I was like, it goes a little bit more into that right around. She's so bad at this, I feel. You know, right here.
Oh, yes.
There's like a little paragraph. I do all of the underlining sometimes, and I kind of go crazy. I feel like when she underlines things, it's way more organized.
I know.
I do.
Okay. So, it says, put it right here. So it says, because you put too much faith in him, Zayden answers anyway. And knowing who to trust is the only thing that will keep you alive. Keep us alive. Because, we'll get into it in a minute. Not only in the quadrant, but after graduation.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, I love that Zayden says that to her then.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, yes, her heart is broken because her extremely objectively hot best friend was like, I don't actually like you that much. And, you know, she, like, puts so much faith in Dane.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, Zayden can see already that Dane is not necessarily worth putting all of that faith in. Like, he's not going to pull through. And so why are you putting your faith into him if he's not really going to step up to the plate and help you at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah. And also the, like, there's, and she kind of goes, like, there is no us. And he goes in to explain, like, we're bonded to maiden pairs, making us paired. And so, like, if any of them die, then are all gonna die, pretty much.
Well,
at least, if Zayden dies, Violet dies.
I mean, I think that I don't think so. Because I felt like it was specifically because of because the dragons were mated. So if Zayden dies, Sigale might die, but dragons sometimes do live after the riders die.
Yes.
So
majority of the time they just get really sad.
Yeah, majority of the time the dragons do live after riders, but if Sigale or Taryn were to be killed, then Violet would die.
Yeah.
But because Taryn or Sigale would die, their mate would most likely die, and then the other person would also die as well.
Yes.
So I think, like, that is a very large distinction that I think should be made now.
Thank you for explaining.
Because I just think that, you know, that sounded crazy.
Thank you for explaining.
That sounded crazy. Like,
I am
some
crazy.
crazy stuff.
And another thing that I appreciate in this book that, you know, typically, like, we read ACOTAR, we read Throne of Glass, and there's a lot of fae, there's a lot of immortal beings, and the thing that I really appreciated, and, like, fated mates and stuff, and the thing I appreciated in this book is, like, they are human. They can die. They live just like we do, and besides for the dragons, there's no fated mates. Like, the couples choose each other. It's not like, oh, you were fated a long time ago, and you're gonna be fated for many, many, many years to come. It's, no, like, we're choosing each other and willing to put in the work because it's just an average relationship.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing.
Mm-hmm. I will admit it is quite refreshing and, you know, very relatable because, you know, us in our own relationships, you know, put in the work for the people that we want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
And it is really interesting, and I think that we should note it now that Zayden and Violet do not have to get together because their dragons are mated.
No, they do
and
not.
I think that's a big thing of, like, kind of why you brought that point up.
Yes.
Is that they don't have to get together.
Yeah,
they could hate each other till the end of the whole book series if she wanted to write it like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, she's openly
she
said,
could marry
like,
Dane.
What a plot twist.
And I don't know about that. That was crazy.
And she's, like, openly said, the author, she openly said that wow, that really tickled you.
Yeah, I kind of did. Just
she can marry Dane. So, the author said if, let's say, re-bonded Sigale and Violet's Taryn or something, like, they would be bonded. Like, they would be connected. It's not
because like the human relationships would be connected because their dragons are connected, yes. Not necessarily it being a super romantic relationship, or that they're forced into like dating at all.
Yes, so. And it's nothing to do with the humans.
It's all to do with their dragons and what they think and what they want to say.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's so fun about it.
It really is. It really is.
And then obviously she's extremely hurt by like him choosing the rules and Xaden is really saying like, hey, you should be careful, like who you trust and things. And then they're at that point the like little council meeting to decide whether or not she gets both dragons is done.
Yep.
And spoiler alert, she gets both dragons.
Wow. That's what we preface.
Yeah.
We do small spoilers if you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that if you're listening, you would know what we're talking about. There's certain fan theories that I'm like, can't talk about it.
It's so hard.
Can't talk about it.
We will though, don't worry.
It's too soon.
We will. So much more. We will talk about it so much. Yeah,
and then it's so interesting because like after like they go out and like they're celebrating and stuff, Dane is excited for her.
Yeah, now he's like, oh my gosh, you can keep both dragons.
Yeah, like he's so excited and he comes and he hugs her and like strokes her hair and like caresses her face and it's just like so like
romantic.
Yeah, like oddly like, oh, nothing happened. Like, oh, yeah. I didn't just say I wouldn't go and protect you because of the rules. Now we're all friends again.
Yeah.
And he just like really, I do think that it's kind of interesting that Dane does that in and of himself, that he is very much a stickler for the rules, but then can like flip at a turn of a dime. Like, oh my gosh, well, now that they said it was a part of the rules, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like that idea of like he's waiting for them to say that it's okay, that it's a part of the rules, and so it's okay to act like that.
Yeah, and it's very annoying.
It's very, very interesting.
And so he's hugging her, he's caressing her, all these things, and then he kisses her.
Well,
and I'm like, sir.
Well,
she was waiting for it.
Yeah, she was. She was absolutely
waiting
for it. I think I did put a line in there. She was very much waiting for it and she was anticipating it, and you have to understand, like, she's been waiting for this kiss for so long. She is like, oh my god, this man, because like I said, she thinks that he is objectively fucking hot. Like, he's smoking hot. That's it. That's all I gotta say is, according to this book, Violet still thinks that Dane is hot. And there's like this whole section that she really is anticipating it. They are childhood best friends.
She's kind of saying like, you've always wanted me safe. And then he'll do anything, and then it says, except break the rules. And then he goes, you have to know how I feel about you. His thumb strokes over my cheek, his eyes searching for something, and then his mouth is on mine. And then his lips are soft, but the kiss is firm. I'm so sorry. And delight races up my spine. After years, Dane is finally kissing me. The thrill is gone in less than a heartbeat. There's no heat, no energy, no sharp slice of lust. Disappointment sours the moment. But not for Dane. He smiles as he pulls away. It was over in an instant. It was everything I ever wanted. Except, shit, I didn't want it anymore.
Honestly, that was one of my favorite moments.
It's so good.
Because I'm so sorry. I feel like that's such a relatable feeling to like
and
be
it's
like
never shown. Like,
yeah, never.
Oh, I don't like. Oh, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Oh wait, now I have it and I don't want it.
Yeah, and like even like that idea of like you romanticize somebody for so long. You had this picture of like where your life was going to be with them, and then when it actually starts to manifest in this certain way, it is very interesting that she was like, I thought that I was gonna feel more during this kiss. Like there was no fireworks, there was no heat, there was no lust.
Butterflies.
I didn't feel anything when I kissed him. But also I love the fact that she mentions that like he did not feel the same way. He thought there was sparks and he liked it. And he was like, damn, that was great.
Yeah. He was like, oh.
Mm-hmm. And I just think like that is so fun to see her, you know, wrestle with that.
Yeah.
Throughout this chapter specifically about I really like Dane. I don't like Xaden, but I feel weird when I see Xaden. But I know that I should pick Dane because Dane is safe. Yeah. I know I should pick Dane because Dane is who I know. Dane is familiar. Mm-hmm. And Dane expresses outwardly the need and the want and the desire for her, where Xaden does not.
Yes. And Xaden also is telling her like she's target number 1. Yeah. Because in the beginning, right after threshing, a lot of cadets that did not bond will go try to kill other cadets that just bonded right after they bonded because the bond is at the weakest and the dragons can change their mind. And so he was like, hey, you bonded the strongest dragon and people think you're the weakest. You need to watch your back. Like, you're target number 1.
Yeah, and then also just not only that is like he is so aware of it, and he's like, hey, we should all be aware. And you know, she's going in and she's like, wow, this is crazy. I really loved just everything. And then, you know, after that everybody goes off and they celebrate.
Yeah. And which brings us into chapter 17.
Yeah, which brings us into chapter 17, which
starts off strong.
I didn't catch it the first read.
I didn't either.
But the second read,
I didn't think much of it because they weren't nearly as close as they were and we didn't know them. And so when we heard it, both Kaylee and I went, what? The shock that went through our bodies was...
But I kind of loved that.
Oh, I love it so much. I close my door behind me as I limp into the hallway. Rhiannon's door across the hall from mine opens and I see Sawyer's tall, lean frame come out of the door. He runs his fingers through his hair and when he sees me, his eyebrows rise and he freezes, his cheeks almost as red as his freckles. Good morning, Violet. And then... the better line is here, but that's what it starts with. And then, so Sawyer, huh? I felt like celebrating. And why have I not heard of you celebrating? I
love the fact that, like, her and Ree can, like, talk like that.
Oh, I know.
And the fact that, like, Violet is like, so Sawyer. And then she immediately flips it around and was like, yeah, so what? I wanted to fucking celebrate, bitch. What were you doing? Like, what were you doing all night? Like, not fucking somebody? I'm confused.
But again, I completely forgot that Ree and Sawyer fucked. Completely forgot.
Yeah, it's just like for now, what we just saw was like looked like a very like glimpsing like hookup, and that was kind of it. But
like later in the series, now that we've like really gotten to know these characters and like this is a reread, so we know these characters quite well. We've read where the books are up to. There's no more books for us to read unless we're rereading. Now that I know those characters so well, it was so funny to hear. I was like, what do you mean? That's so funny.
I will admit, yeah, like knowing the context behind that, it was quite funny. But
I mean, like there was no context. They just did it for fun. But
yeah, they were celebrating. First of all, they were celebrating, and so it's okay. It was good.
Yes, but I mean,
like a little reward.
But knowing the characters.
Yes, knowing the characters, I think it's very, very funny. But, like, you know, as, like, Violet is going on and Ree is going on, Violet does finally have the courage to tell Ree why she wasn't necessarily celebrating.
Yeah, and it's, Yeah, so she said, really? Because I heard you and a certain squad leader had a moment last night.
Ooh.
Ooh. And then, she was like, come on, Vi, like, you're not gonna get a lecture from me. Who gives a shit if it's frowned upon to be in a relationship with a superior officer? So again, showing, like, they don't care about the rules. Like, the complete difference from Dane.
Yeah,
like, really interesting in how she's like, oh, who gives a shit? Like, go fuck him.
Because it's like, here's the thing, is...
Who's gonna tell?
Well, who's gonna tell? But then it's also like, it's just frowned upon. It's not actually against the codex.
Yeah.
And another thing is, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, she has such, like, Sorengale in and of itself is such a big name. Like,
yes. Like,
I don't think that her fucking Dane would, you know,
change anything.
Boost her station or her status at all.
No.
I
do not either.
You know, I just think that it's funny, but, you know.
Yeah. And I do like the conversation was like solid points, but it's not like that with us. I always hoped it would be, but when we kissed, there was nothing there. Like, nothing. And I'm so glad that she has Rita have those conversations with. Like, how interesting. And then Ree's like, oh, that's shitty to hear.
I also love, like, Ree's response to that, because
that's a you and I. That is a you and I conversation right there.
Just like your best friend is being like, yeah, like, I really wanted it to work out, but it just, like, didn't happen. And, like, it's not like you really have anything good or bad to say. You just have to say,
that's kind of shitty.
Damn, that's shitty.
Yeah.
Like, that fucking sucks, bro, but that's kind of fucking shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then Riddick comes out, good morning, ladies, or should I say writers? And
I know.
I love him.
Riddick is so fun, and
He's
I do
so fun.
love that he does give, like, that, I don't know, quote unquote, like, comic relief to this book and, like, to the squad, even though, like, there are, like, really large parts and, like, later in the series where he is serious and he's not just the comic relief, but I like that he is...
We can't talk about those yet.
Very, nonchalant and always in a good mood and always trying to, like, make his squad mates laugh and have a good time.
You could very much tell, like, his goal is, like, hey, like, we're in a very serious place. Like, let me lighten the mood and make it a bit easier for all of you because I care about you guys.
Yeah, and it's like, I love that. Like, we all need that friend who, in a very serious circumstance, is going to be like, hey, you want to hear something funny? You know? And, like, just... Or,
like, when people are having, like, a really serious, like, discussion, and it's like, just pull your dicks out. Measure and be done with it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I love it. I love the fact that it's so easy for him, and I also love that he's just so quick-witted. I think, like, that's so fun to hear and to watch, like, in this book. You know, and now they're, like, going to like, go eat and stuff, and they're walking into the lunchroom or their mess hall or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure that there's an actual name in it, but it's okay. I'm not gonna call it by the actual name. Just I'm gonna call it the cafeteria or the lunchroom. That's it. You know, and they're going in there and things are changing. People are moving out of the way for Violet, where before they were pushing her down and being like, give me your lunch money, kid. And now they're, like, stepping away and being like, oh, hey, like, do you want to sit here? Like, it'd be so cool if you sat here with us.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is so confusing. And she sits down and, like, they see, like, Jack getting bullied out of his seat, like, while he's eating, and then tries to, like, move down. And then other people, like, scoot so that he can't sit with them, and then he finally, like, finds a table, like, in the fucking corner.
Like, all alone.
And then I also love that her friends are really on her side and are just like, oh my god, look at that loser. Oh, how the mighty have definitely fallen now.
It's so good. It's so good. It's like, oh, look at that. Like, they make fun of it, and they could tell, like, if she is getting uncomfortable, they'll kind of back off.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
It is a good group of friends. But this is where we meet more officially. A beautiful pink-haired queen sits down. And we finally get a good interaction with Imogen and her best friend Quinn.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good.
I think Imogen is such a badass. Like, it's just a big thing.
Yeah, like, one of her, like, oh, why are you sitting with us? And there's like, oh, like, we haven't been sitting with you every podcast.
Ashley hates me and thinks that I'm the most boring person in the world. That's why she yawns every time that we do a podcast. Because she actually cannot stand talking to me.
Yeah, you know, we don't talk for 2+ hours a day ever.
Never.
Never. That's absurd.
Come on, kid, let's go.
So then, I was going. So then, she says, like, oh, you weren't interesting enough to sit with before.
I'm so sorry. Like, what a line. You know, somebody's gonna be like, oh, why have you never sat with us before? And she's just casually like, I mean, you guys weren't fucking interesting enough to sit with before, but I guess now you are.
Yeah, like, wild. I love her so much.
Yeah, and you know, she just says, like, I usually sit with my girlfriend in the claw sections, and besides, getting to know you would be pointless because most of you die anyway.
Yeah, like, they made it very clear. It's like, we do not really talk to first years until after threshing.
Yeah.
Because so many people die through the parapet, through the gauntlet, during threshing, on the mat, and all of these things. And it's like, why would I get to know you? Like, that would just make it so much harder.
Yeah, which, I mean, I think says something about the school in and of itself. But also, like, that type of, like, pack war mentality.
Yeah.
You know, about, like, the idea of, like, there's no use in building frivolous relationships, you know? And that it really is like you weren't worth getting to know because I didn't think that you were going to be alive enough for me to know, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, they're sitting over there and Violet is getting more and more suspicious, because then Imogen just, like, throws it out there like, hey, you and me, we're gonna go start training.
Yeah, and it's like, you need to eat more than fruit, bro.
Yeah, like you need to eat some protein, like, we need to, like, bulk you up a little bit. And Ree kind of gets offended. She's like, she is training with me.
Yeah, she's like, I am training her, like, excuse me. And she's like, we're doing weights, bitch.
Yeah, like, she was like, we need more, and, like, openly says, good, because we cannot afford to let her lose any more challenges or anything like that. Like, she looks at Ree, and, like, Ree and Imogen kind of have, like, this very odd, like, silent, like, pack in between them that's like, hey, we are going to help Violet out, and we are going to make her stronger, and we, you know, are not going to, like, let her lose the visibility. And Violet is like, what the hell? Imogen broke my arm on the first day.
Yeah, the first time that she ever met her.
Like, she broke my arm, just told me that I was fucking uninteresting, and now she's over here being like, let's train and work out together. And she's like, this seems suspicious.
Yeah.
And then openly is like, did Zayden tell you to? And then,
yeah, like, openly, like, hey, like, why are you doing this? Like, you wouldn't do this unless you were given orders to do this. Yeah,
and she said, well, you know, my orders are between me and the person that gave them.
Ooh.
Which I think is fun for Imogen to say.
Yes.
And then it's just so funny because she's, like, now looking for Zayden, because around in the lunchroom, and, like, obviously he's sitting with the wing leaders and, like, you know, the section leaders and, like the higher ups, like, in you know, the squad and things like that.
Yep.
And it's just so funny because she says, my gaze snaps to Zayden. My chest tightens. So freaking beautiful. Apparently my body doesn't care how dangerous it is, because every single time we see them, because heat rushes through my vein and my skin flushes. And I'm like, I think that somebody has a little
crush.
Not a little crush. I was gonna say something else, but yeah, definitely a crush. For sure. She doesn't have any specific tendencies or traits that she might like that could be a little bit more spicier.
Not at all. No. Her intent is purely pure. She just wants to go to movies with him and go out to dinners and nothing else, really.
And then, really, nothing else. She also just is like, oh, every single time I look at him or see him or feel like he's here, like, is there any part of my body that doesn't react to him? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, then.
It's definitely not a crush, though, guys.
No.
Just to let everybody know, it's not a crush. It's not a crush at all, because that would be crazy.
No, not at all.
No, and so, they're like winding down. She's kind of like going back and forth with Imogen because she's like, I just really feel weird that like Xaden is telling you to.
Yeah, and also like think how exhausting that's gonna be. Like one thing right after the other. Like that's a lot.
Yeah, and then now after threshing, they're going into flight training.
Yeah,
and so it's very interesting when we see them do their first flight training, which happens in this chapter. So.
Yeah, and she, oh my god, what's his name? Taryn is like holding her on with the magic like he did on threshing. You're finding gloves. Like he does on threshing, but then she's like, hey, like you don't need to hold me. And how it's written in the book was great. It's like, oh, thank you, shit!
Yeah, like there was just like a very like big thing where, she's like, no, like, you should release it. Like, you should release me.
Like, you're gonna tire yourself out. And he's like, no, I'm not. She's like, release me. Like, I don't want you to tire yourself out because I can't hold on.
Yeah, and then he was like, all right, fuck it. If you want to do it like this, then let's fucking go.
Yep. And so then she falls and falls and falls and falls. She keeps falling and falling. And the line that I thought was very interesting was they're, having a conversation just as they're flying.
Her and Taryn.
Yeah, and Taryn goes, dragon pay no heed to your puny gods.
Yeah, because, like, I mean, she openly was like, oh, if you're gonna do these crazy flight maneuvers, I might as well, like, pray to the gods real quick.
Yeah, pray to Seagal. Dune. Pray to Dune.
Mm-hmm. Pray to Dune about, my safety and stuff, and Taryn just very immediately is like, we pay no heed to human gods.
Yeah, which I think is very interesting.
I mean, it is
interesting,
sense. But it's also, like, one of these things where it's like, when it is, a very long living creature.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, not only that is most dragon cultures don't have any type of gods. They are the gods.
Yeah.
They are gods. So
they're dragons who could be above a dragon.
Exactly. And so it's very interesting to see that.
If a dragon would eat you.
No, she'd be a very nice dragon.
Would you be a big dragon, a big fierce dragon?
I don't know about a big fierce dragon, but she could be a little dragon.
That's not fierce at all?
I mean, you never know. She'd just be a little dragon.
Little dragon that would do this all day as well.
Yeah, a little dragon. Very cute, little dragon.
Yeah, and it's, then it's that you can't hold me the entire time, and, like, how the hell am I supposed to be a writer if I can't stay on my damn dragon myself?
Yeah.
Like, it's really beating her up that she can't do it. She falls again and again and again.
I mean, but also, like, if you think about it, like, it's so understandable that Violet holds so much pride in that.
Oh, for sure.
Because as a writer, that is what you're supposed to be able to do. You're supposed to be able to hold yourself on your dragon during these maneuvers and live.
Yes. And also, like...
And... Keep going, sorry.
Oh, no, continue. And then I'll go.
And then... Also, not only that is, it's so interesting because, she has this idea of what she thinks dragons value. And her idea of what dragons value is strength, perseverance, and cunning. Like, those are the three main things. And she doesn't think that she, possesses strength or perseverance, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, like, back to, like, the holding on to a dragon type of thing is, like, if anybody's ever ridden a horse, even like a trail ride, like you get sore, like those inner thigh muscles, like you don't use those except for really like riding a horse. riding a dragon. And so, like, especially if you haven't done it before or been training for it for years, like, it's going to be really hard. Like, it takes a long time to build up those muscles to stay on a horse. I can't imagine flying on a dragon that's going like this and like this.
Yeah, like it must be so hard.
But I want to do it anyway.
Yeah,
I really want to fly a dragon. My darling, I'm scooching and I want to kind of skip up.
But you know, as much as like we would love to ride dragons, I also think that it is a huge source of her pride because, you know, she's in the writer's quadrant attempting to
involuntarily,
but attempting to, you know, gain the praise of her mother, gain the approval of her mother, gain the approval of her sister that is already in war, like, you know, gain the approval of her peers and no longer appear weak, and yet she still can't do this very titular motion that is, you know, synonymous with being a writer.
Yeah, like if you can't stay on your dragon, how are you a writer? Like, how would that work if you're just like, oh, I just keep falling, I can't go fly into battle, I can't help our people, I can't, why was I chosen if I can't do literally any of this?
And then, you know, going back to the why was I chosen, but then again it's the why would my dragon even want me?
Exactly. Like, oh, is he going to change his mind? Are they both going to change their mind? She has too.
Yeah. And
it's, that would be such a hard mentality to go to sleep. To
break and things like that. So they're going through and, you know, she has this interaction with Taryn and now they're back on the flight field. And, you know, who do you think comes up in the flight field getting all huffy and puffy?
Obviously Rhiannon.
It has to be.
It has to be. Who else goes onto the flight field huffy and puffy, mad about Violet? Not Dane. Dane is the most supportive friend. Obviously. Okay. I'm not saying he's right, and I'm not trying to justify what he's doing, but like we said earlier, like him being like that childhood best friend and seeing how her disability does affect her, I see what his point of view is, but it is wrong. Like, he is someone trying to protect his best friend who's chronically ill, but he's doing it in the worst way possible. He loves her, but not the right way.
Yeah, okay, I could agree with that. I can agree with that.
Thank you.
I think you finally got around to the point that I could agree with you because I was
that's what I was like. I'm not supporting him. I'm not saying what he did was right, but he does love her. He just had no idea how to show it, and he's too much of a rule stickler to be in any sort of relationship. I'm so sorry.
Especially with her, like, I just think
but like, he can't handle a friendship. How the fuck would he handle a relationship? No. And he's like, I like you. No, you don't. Sorry.
I agree, but also, like, in the book, when she sees him, like, coming towards her,
now?
Yes.
Okay.
She is, like, waiting for this very familiar, like, swell of happiness, that butterfly feeling, and she's just not getting it anymore. Yeah. And it's so real for the author to put that in, that she's, like, anticipating that feeling when she sees him, and then she's like asking herself, why am I not getting this feeling? Because she says, what the hell is wrong with me? Dane is gorgeous and kind, and he's a really good man.
Like he's loyal, and
I can understand, like, that idea of you're trying to convince yourself into, like, this safe option. Yeah. But at the end of the day, us as readers, because, you know, we have, like, more of an omniscient view of the world, know that it may not be the best choice for her. Yes. Just because of, like, the way that he actually is treating her. And, like, you can justify it by saying that he's trying to protect her and that he is only out for her well-being. But he's going about it, like you said,
in a completely wrong way, and it is like Zayden said, he's overprotecting you. Like, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, you need to train. And you need to, like, do things to help you, not just keep you sheltered in a little bubble. And speaking of training, Dane is obviously very upset that Imogen is training Violet and is like, it's Zayden trying to murder you and send you to your death.
Yeah, and then he's like all upset and everything, and he like just like he's like berating her about falling off her dragon and being like, why didn't you tell me? Because, and then she's like, well, bitch, I thought everybody knew.
Yeah,
like so many people are watching this happening. I'm confused about why you didn't know. He's, then, once again berating her about Imogen.
Yep.
And then he just like pivots and is like, I need to talk to you about last night. And you're like,
why are you touching her face like that? Like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch your mother's face like that. I agree. It was kind of rude and shocking and kind of weird, right? I agree.
Eclipse did not agree with Dane.
No, Eclipse didn't agree with Kaylee touching Ashley's face either.
We don't like it. I kiss your face though.
I know.
Okay.
And he, brings it up. He's like, hey, after, like, they kind of embrace and he, like, strokes her face and, like, they're, like, more of, like, in an intimate, like, position. He's like, hey, I need to talk to you about last night.
Yeah, he wants to finally talk about the kiss.
And she's, like, kind of excited because she's like, oh, okay, like, this is gonna be the time where I really get to say,
like, oh, I mean, she's like, oh, finally, like, he feels the same way.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm so glad that we feel the same way, because he says, nothing between us can happen, and she's like, well, I'm so glad that we both feel the same way.
And then he's like, because actually, because of the rules, and I'm like, sir, no one cares.
And it's just, like, one of those things where I find it...
And then,
I'm sorry. I kind of agree with Violet's reaction about, like, being, like, so upset. And just, like, literally she says, I lost respect for him when he said it. Immediately.
You're like...
I lost respect.
Which is so valid. Like, it's like okay, first you're not going to save me on the flight field, and you're going to berate me every single time about something, and now you're like, oh, because of the rules, I don't want to kiss you. I don't want to be with you. We could be friends, but I don't want to be with you because of the rules, actually.
Well, actually... and I find it so...
The way you moved your head was so good.
Actually... It's just like one of those things where it's like, I'm so sorry. I really do, well, number one, feel for Violet, but then number two, that girl has so much control, because if somebody was like, even if I didn't like them, I feel like that's the thing, is like, even if I didn't like you, and you were like, actually, I really like you, but I can't be with you because it'd be against the rules, I would be like, I think I'm more offended that you actually like me.
Yes.
I'm more offended that you actually like me and are too much of a pussy to do something about it.
Yes.
Than you not liking me. Like, I, like Violet, would feel so much more relieved if that person just didn't like me too.
Yeah, like it's... And also, or... just don't tell me that it's because of the rules. Just like, oh, like, sorry, I don't like you. Maybe later? Like, type of thing, not
maybe later. Like,
actually, because of the rule, I do like you, but because of the rules, I won't.
Like, I can't pursue you.
I can't pursue you because of the
my
rules.
Moral opportunity.
I am a squad leader. I have pledged that I can't break any rules, even though I've been doing this since I was a child.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting. Because honestly, I feel like I would have slapped him. That's why I was like, damn, Violet is a strong woman, because...
I would have slapped him.
Like I said, I would not... I am more offended that you like me and you're unwilling to do anything about it.
Because I think it's also like, if someone doesn't like you, you can't control feelings.
Yeah, like, and that's fine, and you can let that go. But the fact that somebody likes you and then doesn't, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm going off because I'm like, man, I'm getting so upset about it.
It's so upsetting. Like, why would you? Okay, it's okay. We're fine. But,
like, why would you even say it? Like, why would you tell her that, like, that you like them, and then are just like, but we have to wait more. Like,
wait for me for 3 years. Like, that is such an ask. Like, no. Like, what if I find someone I am interested in those 3 years? Can I not because I'm already obligated to you? Absolutely not. It's like, because of the rules.
Yeah, I was like, but also another thing is like, I'm sorry, sir. You were a squad leader at a school. That's like being class president.
Oh, not even. I feel like wing leader is being class president. That's like being
like the secretary or the treasurer of like student council.
I guess it's like being your class president, whereas wing leader is being like the school president type of thing.
I guess, but like also like, once really again, it doesn't seem like that important, and like other people around him
don't seem to care that much.
Yeah, are not caring nearly as much, and are just really like having a good time. But I personally am offended by what he said. I'm more offended that he likes her and is unwilling to do something than him not liking her.
I agree. I completely, utterly agree.
And like I
because again, you can't control feelings.
Yeah, you can't.
If you like who you like, and you don't like who you don't like,
exactly,
like, you can't control that. If you fall in love with someone, obviously there is some control in it because you don't have to pursue the person if you like them, but how your brain reacts to a person when you first see them, and like your intention isn't to get together, but then you start kind of having those feelings, you don't really control that.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is you don't, and you can't control that. But the fact of the matter is, you can control what you say, and it was...
And he tried, and he did an awful job. He knew what he was saying.
Yeah, and he knew, and just, like, it was just, like, so, like, oh, well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, sir, that's horrible. You should really, really be ashamed of yourself.
You should go to therapy.
Yeah.
He needs to go to therapy.
Freaking therapy.
He
That's
really
crazy. But also, you know what? Violet probably needs therapy after that.
Absolutely.
After talking to Dane, like, so many times throughout this book, I think she should go to therapy just to handle that problem.
After reading the book with Dane, I had to go to therapy.
Yeah, no, I'm just, like, it's crazy. But, you know...
Well, that's where chapter 18 ends.
Yeah.
Goes out with
that's where chapter 17 ends, and now we're going on to 18.
You're right, yes. Thank you. And then it's...
I'm sorry. Like, you keep talking. I'm just gonna have my own little moment over here. So you're
calm me down from Dane.
Yeah, I need just.
You need a couple seconds.
Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Collect yourself. You can do it. I believe in you. So Violet, in the start of chapter 18, goes and sees her friend Yesenia, who we have not met yet. She's a scribe, and she's deaf, and she's so excited to see her, and you know, and it's fun to see the representation. Like, it's just so casual.
Oh yeah, and the fact that it's like such a casual thing in their like in this world and in like the country that most people know sign language.
Yeah,
I think like that's amazing that, you know,
right there
they did choose something like that. Also, it was really interesting because me and Ashley, we were talking over this chapter, and she was like, "Oh, we really have to mention that she's deaf," and I was like, "Why? It seems so obvious that she's deaf."
Because I can talk about this.
She's upset.
Because I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, she took a vow of silence for, like, because she's a scribe, and like she's actually like a scribe now, and like, oh, I took a vow of silence, and she's like, oh yeah, like that's why." And literally, please explain, because I don't understand. There are other scribes that talk and can hear you. Why would Yesenia be the only one that took a vow of silence? Make it make sense. She's deaf. I am done. Thank you. It doesn't make sense, but it's fine. People interpret books differently. She is deaf. She is not.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like, so sorry.
No. I'm glad that you popped off about that, because this book is something that we really liked because of the representation.
Yeah, and there's representation all over, just so casually.
Yes.
There's no I feel like a lot of people try to make the representation of a gay person, but it's very much they are gay. That's their entire personality. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, look, they're gay, blah blah blah. And this is just, Reef and Tara slept together. Oh, I'm just gonna go meet with my girlfriend. It's such a casual, and no one is like, did you hear that they're gay? Oh my god. And it's not the biggest deal, and it's there's a non-binary representation that we haven't gotten to yet, and Jacinia being deaf, the main character having a physical disability that's invisible.
Yeah, I really think that she, this author really does a wonderful job highlighting disabilities and different groups of people, and also once again representation of skin tone in her book, I think is amazing.
It's very much Xaden isn't white, Ree isn't white.
No, I'm sorry. I will die on this hill, and I will argue with somebody about Xaden being white, because if somebody says that he's white, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
He is a very gorgeous black man. I do not care, and I will die on this hill. I will die on the hill, and I don't care. I will die on that hill fighting so hard, because you cannot tell me
he is not white.
I'm sorry, you cannot tell me that he is. If you I'm trying not to be crazy about this.
Do it. I just went off. Your turn.
If you've ever had an interaction with either one of those types of men, you know what kind of man he is. And that is a black man, and that's all I have to say about that.
And we love it.
We love it.
We love it so much.
Really hot. We love it.
And in my head, Riddick is Filipino.
I agree with that.
He's such a Filipino man, and I love it.
But also just so fun and really much out there, and but also so serious and so down to earth and so loyal and willing to go up to bat for his friends. I just think that once again, representation between skin tones, disabilities, and other languages in this book, I think, is absolutely amazing. Yeah. And honestly, when she was like, oh yeah, people think that Yesenia's not deaf, I was like, I'm confused.
I literally
because I really did. When I read it, I thought it read very clearly that she was deaf.
Yeah, it never crossed my mind that it was a vow of silence. I never thought about it until I heard about it.
Yeah, and so it's I guess for me, I was that didn't cross my mind, but I mean, it makes, if you squint your eyes and tilt your head, it could definitely make sense, just like abstract art.
Yeah. But speaking of Yesenia, so she's
so happy to see her, because they haven't seen each other since Violet was put in the writer's quadrant.
Yep.
And she didn't know if Yesenia passed her exam.
Yeah, she didn't know, and she passed, and so Violet's really, really excited about it. We're so proud of Yesenia. Good job. And she, Violet's homesick because she trained her entire life to be in the archives, and now being there after being in the writer's quadrant for what, a good couple months now?
Yeah.
She's wow, I did miss this. But one of my favorite lines is coming up. I don't know if we want to speak about that now or after.
I mean, you can go for it. We also meet Markham, who is
we technically have met him, but we haven't had a one-on-one chat.
Yeah,
they haven't had a battle brief.
Yeah, they hadn't had a really good interaction. But we see Markham in the the library with them, and he sees Violet, and he's like, oh wow, look, she was like my prodigy. She was like somebody who I thought that was going to be like the head of the scribes, but now the writers quadrant stole her away, and now she's even more legendary there by having 2 dragons.
Yeah.
And they kind of mentioned something briefly in the book about are you going to talk about it?
Oh, yes, I can. Yes, of course.
Are you going to talk about?
She asked. Sorry.
I thought we were going to talk about the books being more important than anything. Before, never mind. She's not going to start yet because she doesn't know where we're going, I guess. And then Markham is just like so enthralled with these books, and so is she, because she was raised around it. It was such a beautiful, integral part of her childhood because she was raised in the archives, and they openly say that the reason why there's no ventilation and there's no like large windows in the thing, that because books are the most important thing in their society, that losing these histories would damn them all to hell.
Yeah.
And then,
which is really interesting.
Yeah, and then also, like, not only that, is she finds so much solace in these books that she actually goes and asks Yesenia for...
Thank you for letting me say my part now.
Segue!
For the Fables of the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's the book that she wanted to bring across with her.
Yeah, it's one of the books that Mira did not let her take because she was like, there's no point. You cannot have these books.
Yeah.
And so Mira took it out of her pack.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the books.
She was upset about it, so she was really hoping to get it back.
Mm-hmm. Or at least to be able to read it, not necessarily like get the book back, but at least, check it out from the library and read it.
Yeah, so, Yesenia goes and looks, but, like, can't find it. And she was like, that's so weird because we have literally every single copy of any book ever read and written here. So it's like, oh, why?
Yeah, this archive is one of the most extensive in all of Navarre. And so because of that, it is very odd that they don't have this book at all.
Yeah, like at all. And like Yesenia was even like, I've never heard of this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Yesenia not only has never heard about this, but even Violet, when she's asking her to find the book and describing the creatures in the book, she realizes that there's not a sign for wyvern or venin. And so she actually ends up hand spelling them out to her.
Yeah, because
there wasn't, it was like the word doesn't exist in sign language, and so she ends up spelling them out, and she's like, okay, let's go look. And then Yesenia can't find it.
Yeah.
And I find like that's so interesting.
It is very interesting.
It's not there.
Yeah. And then she meets Markham, and then Andarna kind of chimes in and is like, you are sad. Oh, I love Andarna. Like, you are sad. And then, she's like, just visiting the archives, like, there's no need to worry. And then she said, it's hard to love a second home as much as the first. And then the line that we both really, really like is, it's easy when the second home is the right one.
Yeah, and the fact that Violet says that to Andarna, I think is so powerful to really show the bond that she has with the dragons, but then not only that is where she is supposed to be. She was told her whole life she belonged in this book, and then to tell her dragon that her dragon is sad for her, and it's like, oh man, it must be so hard to love a second home. Mm-hmm. But then to hear the response of, it's actually really easy when the second home is the right one. Like, I think that really, like, helped solidify their bond and gave them a little bit more, like, trust and reassurance in their relationship, too.
Yeah. And it's, probably comforting to, like, Andarna. Like, what if she ever... it's like, she's, like, still learning. Like, everybody learns. And, I'm so sorry.
Yeah? Are you?
I had a point, and I lost my point halfway through my sentence. It really just kind of went poof out of my brain.
It's okay. I mean,
it's okay, but, like, it is, like, a comforting thing to hear, like, for anybody, was my point. Like, what if you...
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, my horseback riding barn feels like home to me. That's, like, a second home. Like, it's okay for you to love multiple places as a home. for different reasons.
Absolutely, but
that's kind of what I meant. Never mind.
But I also think that it's just so reassuring to hear.
Can I have water?
Yeah, you can always have water. You don't have to ask me.
I can't reach
Do
it.
you want this one?
Well, yeah, that works.
That's fine. Listen, I know that we're not sponsored.
Not a sponsor, but they're good.
But if they would ever like to sponsor us and send us coconut water, we love it. Please do it.
I have pots. I need electrolytes.
Yes, also very important. Please don't faint on this podcast because I don't know. You'll just hear like this tumbling on the floor and then it'll just be me for the rest of the time. It's like, okay, this is cool.
Just host the podcast by yourself.
I mean, Eclipse is going to be my co-host at that point.
Oh, yes. Look at her. Looks like a goat.
A little goat. Oh, no. But, you
That's
know.
exactly what I needed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel much better.
But, you know, it was just, like, so endearing to hear her reassure Andarna like that. But also just, like, so sweet that Andarna checked in with her and was like, hey, I can tell that you're feeling a little sad. Like, what's up with that, you know?
Like, are you okay? Mm-hmm. Like, is there something I could do to help? And it's just having that little conversation seemed to help, you know?
Yeah. I do think that it really did help both of them. I also think that it's interesting because, you know, they're leaving the library.
Archives.
Yeah, they're leaving the archive and, you know, who do you think finds her as she leaves the archive, Ashley?
Dang.
Ding, 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 ding. Wow, we have a winner.
Wow.
So, you know, Dane comes up again.
Does he?
Hello.
Am I blind?
Mm-hmm. He definitely does.
Yeah, he does. He's right. No. No.
Let her skim. Let her cook.
Sorry.
Let her cook for a second. You know. We see a little bit more interaction. I guess he doesn't come up like right after that because she does see Rhea and Sawyer and finds out that Sawyer got a signet, you know.
Yeah, and
in chapter 18 he gets a signet and then
Dane is not there yet.
Dane is not there.
Yesenia asked about Dane and how he's doing.
There it is.
I was like, Dane is not here, you are wrong.
Listen, Dane is everywhere in my head.
Not in a good way. But it's like she asked about Dane and then she says, my smile falters, that's a story for another day.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I'll try to be around this time so I could see you.
Yeah.
And then she and
then as like
she goes back up. So sorry.
No, you keep going.
Okay, I was saying, and as she goes back up, thank you. And as she goes back up to the like where to get food, the cafeteria, I guess is what we're calling it. She sees two first years and 2 second years that they took on when the third squad was resolved, because as squads get smaller, they kind of disperse them into other squads.
Mm-hmm.
Their table away, and they have refused to sit with anyone with a rebellion relic, and Violet does go, fuck them. Yeah,
like, I mean, I do kind of agree. I think it's kind of fucking rude that...
It's so shitty.
That's all happening, and, you know, they're sitting down, and, it's one of those things where they're all talking, and it comes out that, once again, like I said, that Sawyer has a metal bending signet.
Yeah. And we love him for it.
Yeah, and he's one of the first people to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of talking about, like, his classes and things like that, and who, like, you know, the signet trainer is, who's, what is that? Who, I forget his name. Kaori?
Car.
There it is.
It's literally spelled car, but with an extra R.
Car?
We listen to audiobooks. I've never seen the spelling before.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a Karr.
I thought it was
Carr.
But it's okay. Whatever.
It's okay.
She can spell them however she wants. It's fine.
Yeah. We listen to audiobooks. We don't see it.
Yeah, and so, you know, after that, like, they get their, like, Sawyer gets his signet, and we're all, like, really rooting him on and finding out more about the class and, you know, the teacher and things like that.
Yeah,
and then there's like this little outburst in the mess hall basically, and you find out that Coraline Ashton actually ended up by bonding a dragon.
Yeah.
Because that dragon's rider died during flight training the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really interesting. And Jack Barlow's over there, like, celebrating with Coraline because he's, you know, obviously her friend.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to see that Jack Barlow does have friends and
Isn't that
people that, like, hang out with him and that support him and things like that. And, like, yeah, we don't really get that, like, POV side of it, but it is still interesting to see that happen.
It would be really interesting to get a Jack POV like chapter.
It would be.
I don't know if I would like it, but I would be intrigued to read it.
I don't know if it's necessary.
It's definitely not necessary.
I don't think it's necessary.
No, but it'd be interesting.
Yes, it would be interesting.
Like, not necessary, interesting.
Okay.
So then, you know, some time passes, and then we get some more Taryn, because we love him.
Mm-hmm.
And you highlighted so much, so here you go.
It's just because Taryn is a sassy little dragon.
We love him for it.
And so, you know, it's just a lot of like, she's always like, am I just gonna be stuck with your grumpy ass all the time? And then he says, this grumpy ass caught you a dozen times, Silver One. And she's like, could you just call me by my name? Because I hate it that you, like, give me this nickname. And then he says, and I could call you Violence like the wing leader. And she's obviously really finished. Like, don't you dare. And you know how much that ass annoys me too. And then Taryn is like, annoys you? He's chuckling now when he says this. Is that what you call it when your heart rate? And then she, like, cuts him off because she knows what he's about to say, because dragons are a little bit more intuitive. He's like, oh, okay, like, he annoys you? Is that what you say? Like,
that's what you mean?
When your heart rate is going up and you're feeling your palms are sweaty and your knees are weak?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so funny to me.
It's so funny. And so, you know, obviously we love all the Taryn content, and then Dane. Yeah,
Dane comes back in.
Because he's there every chapter.
Every time. And he's just still upset.
And he's still like, Xaden doesn't have your best interest in heart.
Yeah, he's
like,
saying,
look how much you're falling. Mm-hmm. He did this. I'm like,
yeah.
What do you, please explain your logic, because it doesn't make sense, sir. It's fine. I'm so tired of this man.
No, I know. And it's just like,
Tamlin.
He...
Am I wrong?
We are not talking about that man right now. We are not talking about that man. We're talking about this man right here. And it's just, like, goes to show that he is... Another reason why he's like, oh, Xaden doesn't have your best interest in heart is because he's like, he encouraged you to break the rules. Like, I heard from Amber what you did at the gauntlet. And he says that Amber told him that you behaved dishonorably, Violet. And Violet is just so like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, so that's crazy that you think that I'm, like, dishonorable, or I am, like, you know, questioning, like, the integrity of
the codex.
The codex, basically.
Ugh.
You know, and it's crazy to me that, like, that is happening, and we're seeing this, like, kind of unfold, that they're still arguing about the same thing over and over again. And it's just, like, one of those things where, you know, he is upset that, like, she didn't tell him, but it's also at the same time, like, what is she supposed to do?
Yeah, you know? She's like, then she does kind of go off and kind of say, like, this place changes you. He's mad that she's changing, and she's like, well, this place changes you, and, like, what if I need to cut away the bullshit? Because I don't want to deal with you this way.
Yeah, like, openly it says, this place cuts away the bullshit and the niceties, revealing whoever you are at your core. And you said those words to me this summer. And
yep.
And for her to like quote back that line to him,
yeah,
is just, I think, like, so powerful for her because, I think she really is finally realizing maybe this is the bullshit I need to be cutting away.
Yeah.
Maybe this idea of somebody trying to hold me back all the time because I'm not doing exactly what they want me to do. Like, I'm not falling into like this little cookie cutter mold that they've made for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is time to step out. Maybe this is, what it is. And he's pleading for her to like come back to him almost. Yes. Like he doesn't want to lose her, especially like when she says like, maybe you are the bullshit that I need to like cut away. Yeah. And like she just gets so upset, and he's trying to like grab her and hold her and hug her, and she's like, no, get off of me. Yeah. And then leaves, and like she storms into the courtyard, and then somebody
also manifested a signet. Yes. And this is a intrinsic power. And we have not really heard of this yet. I think it might have been briefly mentioned in the beginning, but
very briefly. But so now this is when we really hear about this type of signet happening.
Yes, and so this signet is basically where you can go and read someone's thoughts.
Yeah, so thoughts, the difference or minds, of like and things like that, and feelings.
And this is one, like, if you get this signet, this is not good for you. Yeah. So she because you have no faith in me. And then Rihanna asks, is everything all right? Dane is an ass, make it stop. Someone screams, rushing down the steps. My shadows move to my left. A glance tells me Zayden has moved. Jeremiah. And then he points his finger at a third, or you think I've lost it. And so he starts reading everybody's thoughts. Like, haywire, like you. Yeah. People are gathering around him to make sure he's okay. More people there, the more thoughts he's reading.
Well, yeah, because he can't control it, and so like I don't think he has like the option to do that. He's just being flooded with these thoughts and these feelings, and then he ends up pointing at Dane.
Yeah, he points at Dane, and then he says, "Is Violet going to hate me forever? Why can't she see that I'm just trying to keep her alive? How is he? He's reading my thoughts."
Yeah, like Dane realizes this very quickly. And then, we see something else.
I'm so sorry.
I love it. Read it, please. Please read it. I underlined it for a reason.
I don't need to look to know whose muscled arm now brushes my shoulder. The scent of mint somehow steadies my heartbeat. So this is now like Zayden is starting, instead of making her anxiety worse, like it did, like it's starting to comfort her.
It's so funny the way that she says that. She's like, I don't even have to look to know whose muscled arm is touching me. But then, like, also, like, not only that is, like, the fact that she can distinguish him by smell now. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, wow, the scent of mint is Zayden, and it's comforting, almost,
Yeah, and it's, he's like, make it stop, can't any of you see? The thoughts won't stop. So the kid is panicked. Like, he is so scared. Mm-hmm. And Zayden is like, do something, glancing at him, and then he focuses on him, and then he tells Violet, start mentally reciting whatever bookish shit you've learned. And then she's confused, and he's like, if you value your secrets, clear your thoughts now.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such like an important thing, especially for, Zayden to be telling her, because I think honestly, at this point in time in this book, Xaden probably has the most to lose if Violet gets read. Because Violet knows quite a bit of secrets about Xaden.
Oh, yeah.
Knows about, the meeting under the trees, the poisoning.
Which was her, but...
Yes, but also the fact that her superior officer knew and didn't report it.
Yeah. There's so many secrets.
There's so many secrets that Violet herself is holding for Xaden. I think there could be one of, the biggest reasons he's like, hey, we need to breathe for a second. Do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Jeremiah, the one that's the intrinsic, turns to Garrick and says, damn it all to hell, he'll know about... And then the shadows around Jeremiah's feet snake up in a heartbeat, winding around his chest until they cover his mouth in bands of black.
Yeah, so, Jeremiah points at Garrick and Xaden kind of freaks out and is like, fuck. You
need to stop.
You can't read Garrick's mind, because also I guess that means that Garrick has some secrets too that Xaden doesn't want out, which is why, the shadows went up. Mm-hmm. But Xaden was not the one to kill him.
No, the professor rips Jeremiah's head with both hands and echo cracks off the walls. His neck was snapped.
Yeah.
That's fact that... insane. That's so scary.
Well, yeah, it's just such a split second thing that happens. And then all of a sudden, could you imagine,
being
in school and then just all of a sudden, a teacher, coming up and just snapping somebody's
and also,
neck?
Also, the fear of, oh my god, they could read thoughts. That's so scary. I don't really have much in my head. I don't think about much. But also, I think that person would get really exhausted if they read my thoughts. Mm-hmm. It's oh, look at the blanket is blue.
Yeah, but, it's not only that, it's just, what a powerful signet.
Yes. And it is punishable by death, obviously.
Yeah, and, people are so scared of that signet, even though in war times, this type of signet could be so beneficial for them.
Yeah, and that's why it's I want more information on this signet.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Is it immediate death?
Yeah, why? Why can't we train this for battle and that... we don't, and it is an immediate death. I have some theories that I cannot share quite yet, but I am so ready to share these theories. But it is I really hope we get more answers of why is this a literal death sentence to have this signet, mm-hmm. when you could, you said, this would be so helpful in battle.
Yeah. But then it's just it's the other thing where it's obviously people are scared of this. People are fearing for their lives about this. And it's it's a very intrusive signet. But it's also the other thing that I think about is if a writer knows that there are certain signets that are punishable by death, mm-hmm. why do they still manifest it? Because, listen, I know that a writer cannot choose their signet power, but their dragons do have some semblance of influence, and so do they, just depending on what they need in the circumstance. So I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see, what that is like, and whether or not, that comes into play later, because I do think that it would be very interesting.
Yes, I do agree. I think because there's such it's such a big thing, it has mm-hmm. to come into play later in the series.
Yes.
I would be shocked if it does not come into play later in the series with how much foreshadowing there is.
Yes.
I would be
mm-hmm.
astonishingly shocked.
Yeah.
That's a hard 2 words to say together.
Astonishingly shocked. Astonishingly shocked.
Hard, right?
It is. It's all of the S's.
Astonishingly shocked. Yeah, really, you have to concentrate.
Yeah.
So then, all the people disperse and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then, but not only that, that's actually Violet's first impression of the signet teacher.
Yeah.
Just seeing them snap somebody's neck. And then just casually, I think it's Sawyer or something who's yeah, that's him. And then I think Riddick says something
maybe I don't want a signet power after all.
Yeah, like Riddick just so offhand, like, nah, I'm chilling.
Yeah,
thanks.
maybe I don't want to do that.
That sounds intense, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and then at that point we're now on to chapter 19.
Are we? No, we're not.
Are we not?
No. Something else big happens in chapter 18.
Yeah? Please tell us.
Yeah. So.
That's right. She goes into a dream. She has a dream. I'm dumb. You're right. I was wrong.
A dream. And her dad is there, who has been dead for a little while now.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a dream, of course. Like, in dreams you can see family members and places and things.
And so you have to see who's telling the story. Like, that was a big line, like, Violet, you need to see who's telling the story. Mm-hmm. You're not like them, Violet. This is not your path.
Well, because Violet asks, like, what if I want to be a writer like Mom and Dad? Like Mom and Brennan. Specifically Mom and Brennan, because Mira at that point in time I don't think was a writer. So, you know, just asking. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone says, wake! And then before she wakes up, the dad says, your mother has never understood that while writers may be the weapons of our kingdom, it's the scribes who have all the real power in the world.
Yeah, which I find that so interesting.
That has to come back. So much has to come back.
I do think that is a big point in this book. I think we do see a lot more of foreshadowing and things like that happening with just like that statement.
Yes.
And I'm very excited to see, you know, where it goes.
Yeah.
Because it's so interesting. But it's also so interesting that is the dream that she has right now at that point in time, when somebody is basically yelling for her to wake up.
Yeah. And so then she's like, someone says, like, wake up before you die. And it was Taryn yelling at her and telling her to move because there are 7 writers in her room trying to kill her.
Well, 7 cadets.
Cadets, not writers, sorry. 7 cadets in her room trying to kill her.
Yeah, because they were unbonded cadets, which Xaden mentioned that she would be, you know, target, like, enemy number one.
Yeah.
Like, the first target, because, you know, unbonded writers do go for blood to gain favor almost with their dragons.
Yes. And Orin is the one orchestrating it, the one that she let live on the field. Mm-hmm. Is the one the one attempting to kill her.
Yeah.
And it then all of a sudden everything stops. What does?
I mean, no, it does. I thought it seemed like you were gonna keep going, no. So that's why I was like, yeah, Ashley, go off. You tell him.
Yes, and then all of a sudden, Adana says mine, and she screams it, and everybody and everything in the room is frozen in place except for Violet.
And I think, like, that's so crazy because we got, like, that very, like, small section of her and Andarna interacting about her, you know, finding a second home with the dragons and finding a second home in the Writer's Quadrant. And then for Andarna to show, again, you know, just how much she also is loving and committed to Violet. Mm-hmm. By doing that show of power, you know? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, you know, Violet, going into chapter 19, is very confused. Violet is very confused on what is happening. Mm-hmm. And Darna's like, quick, I can't hold it. Like, get out of there. Yeah. And then Xaden fills the doorway. Like some kind of dark, avenging angel, the messenger of the Queen of the Gods. He is fully dressed, a face mask of rage, as shadows curl from walls on either side of him, hanging in midair. This man is out for blood.
Absolutely, but, like, here, can we just, like, pause for a second and acknowledge, like, how hot that image is? No, like, sorry, actually, though, I'm so sorry. We gotta pause and acknowledge how hot Xaden is in this moment. Just, like...
You hear that, Eclipse? Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but
Would you like that to happen to you?
I mean, yeah, if I was getting jumped in a room by 7 people and just like a person, it doesn't I am not a it doesn't have to be a man.
Yes.
Because I do think that a woman could also save me and I would feel just as giddy. I would probably feel like the same butterflies and giddy feeling,
for sure.
even if it was a man or a woman or, you know, somebody that doesn't have a gender. You know, a human entity
Yes.
that came and saved me, I would feel like the same way.
Yeah.
But like just like the image of that, like shrouded in shadow and like is like willing to just basically for lack of a better term, massacre these people that try to hurt you.
That does sound
like,
pretty hot.
Like the undying loyalty, like the ferocity in it. I also think it's very interesting that they describe him as an avenging angel, the messenger of the queen of the gods.
So interesting.
And I think like that's so interesting because like yes, the gods play like a huge part in the realm, but I wonder if, you know, we find out like who necessarily is the queen of the gods.
Yeah, I'm like, messenger of the gods? How interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who is the queen of the
Yeah, who is the queen of the gods?
How
and why is Aiden the messenger? But also dark avenging angel. Like just like those words together, there is a lot of like juxtaposition within them because, you know, dark and avenging is, you know, very much has more of a negative connotation, but angel has like a very positive connotation to it. And so
it's a good combination of words.
Yeah, and I also think like it just describes him so well.
Yes, it does. It very much does.
So I'm very I was so not gonna lie, I was like, oh, this man, oh my gosh, wow.
So he comes in and literally just goes, "You're all gonna fucking die."
Yeah, but so calmly.
Yeah.
He's just like he says it very nonchalant, and I think like that's the thing that like is so scary, and you know,
he could stay so lethally calm in high stress situations.
Yeah, like lethally calm, and then everybody feels the energy shift, and you know, Oren, who is like attempting to like stab her and like, you know, slit her throat open.
Yeah.
Is like, we are just here to make up for like to rectify the mistakes that these dragons have made. And then Zayden is just so clearly like there's such a large line in the sand. Dragons don't make mistakes.
Yep.
That's it. And in his mind, dragons really don't. And I love that part about him, that he has such a faith in his dragon and in the realm of dragons. Like he has such faith in dragons and thinks that they really are you know, everything that like he wants them to be, and really just is not afraid to say no, they are right. They are much more knowledgeable and they do have intention, and we should follow them. You know, they're not wrong for choosing who they chose. Yeah. You know?
Like the dragons chose for a reason. It's a reason that they don't answer to us.
Yeah, and you know, him and Oren are going back and forth because Oren is like obviously upset and is like, no, they made a mistake, and he's like, they did not. And it comes down to this idea like right before like Zayden kills him, you know, somebody's like, oh, like should we question, like ask Zayden, like, should we question any of them, like should we keep them like alive or anything? And he's like, no, we don't need to keep anybody alive because I've heard what I needed to hear. And then he just says, she should have killed you in the field, but she's merciful, and that is not a flaw I possess.
Such a good line.
It is such a good line, but then also like the fact that like it is like slightly recognized that being incredibly merciful, like Violet is,
a flaw,
can be a flaw when it comes to war.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a flaw when it comes to protecting your own.
Yeah.
And it can be a flaw in the society that they are put in. And it's one of those crazy things to acknowledge, because normally mercy,
that's not a flaw.
Yep, is not a flaw.
Is not having mercy. So it is really interesting to see like that line be said. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Because it is so interesting to see how really how morally gray Xaden is through the entire book, especially like within like these like chapters, about how he's like, oh, it's cool, we'll just kill these people.
Yeah.
Like casually though.
Casually, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're just gonna casually kill them.
Yeah, it's very casual. And you know, she is such a merciful person that I am surprised in a way that she
likes him.
Yeah, that she does like him, because it does seem like they are quite opposites.
Yes.
And you know, it is one of these things where like she even says like he killed them as if this kind of slaughter is commonplace.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is just
this is not his first time. Like this is something that he has done plenty of times before.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, that's scary. Like I can't imagine being in a place where it's like, oh yeah, like we just kill people. Like that's just a common thing. Like people do it, like nonchalantly.
Yeah, and not only that, to like think about like not just to think about like the idea of like, oh yeah, like we kill people like here and it's normal, but it's also like, you know, these people came and woke you up in the middle of the night trying to attack you, and you were in your room that you thought was like a safe place.
Yeah, not for me.
And now is no longer a safe place. I just can think about how devastating that is, and how shaken up she must be.
Yeah, because like right after she was like, oh, like it's easy when the right home is the right one. Yeah. Or the second home is the right one, and it's like, ooh, like right after you're like, oh, like this feels like home, then you have this happen.
Yeah.
No.
Like it's so interesting that, you know, her second home is so dangerous. Her second home is, you know, riddled with anxiety, riddled with adrenaline, and she is still choosing it. Yeah. You know?
Yep. And then the wow, lost it. Oh, and just like you said, like how Xaden is just so okay with it. Like, oh, we're gonna kill her. I gotta kill you. And then he is like, you need to tell me who did you see that ran away in the beginning?
Yeah, but I mean, like while he's trying to get her to talk to him, he's also now that everybody's like dead on the floor. Garrick comes in and is like, hey man, like you didn't leave any, like you didn't leave any for us, like why do we even come?
Yeah, you know I love Garrick. He's like why did we show up? You left some for me.
Yeah, like what, there was really nothing, like we couldn't get a part of the action, like it was okay. And you know, he's trying to get Violet to talk, and she's so in shock that she's like not really responding. And he's like, come on, Violence, come on, like pull yourself together, like let's go. And it says that like he puts his like fingers under my chin just to like lift my head up. Yeah, just like lift my head up to like actually like get that human connection.
Yeah, and like just to ground her, like, hey, like you're not alone. Like yeah, I am here. Look at me. I am here, like, I need you to, like, get it together.
And be here with me. And I know that it's hard, but I'm going to be here with you. And honestly, that, I think, was one of the first moments where we saw a physical interaction between her and Xaden that wasn't...
That's soft.
Yeah, that wasn't them bullying each other.
The bullying is so good though.
We love the banter. So we love the bullying, but
The sweet little tender moments.
It's just so interesting to see Xaden be so gentle with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is so I don't know. I don't know how to say that, but like
a hard commanding general.
Yeah, exactly. He is a hard commanding general, and then for him to use such a soft physical touch to snap her out of that heightened adrenaline space.
Yes. Like that's everybody has a soft side, but I feel like people don't really see Xaden's because he has to be such a general all of the time because he's commanding how many kids?
I mean, yeah, he is the wing leader, and so as the wing leader, you are responsible for so much of everybody.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's so interesting, like the juxtaposition between him slaughtering 7 people to being like, look at me, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I think is so interesting.
It's so wild. Like, it's so interesting to see that because not everybody can flip on a dime like that.
Yeah, and it's like also for her, I think it really was what she needed because she was so heightened, and it's very normal for her, especially during like an adrenaline spell, to get so nauseous.
Yeah.
And like he is like using every tactics to like get her together and is trying to like make sure that she's okay too, because he's asking her like, where does it hurt, is there anything that's like broken, like what's going on, like are you okay?
Yeah.
And she's just like not really responding, and then she's like, oh, my side, she's like, I'm fine, and then he looks her dead in the eye and just says, never lie to me. Because I'm sure that he knows that was bullshit. Like, don't tell me that you're fine. You just got attacked by 7 people.
Yeah, like, what do you mean you're fine? Like, even if you're physically fine, you're not mentally fine. Like, why are you lying to me about this? Like, don't be dumb.
Yeah, I love just the fact that he was just like, never lie to me. Like, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time, and it's not worth my time, and it's not even worth the effort.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't do it. And I think like that was so powerful. Like, after like that like very like soft, gentle touch for him to to ask that of her, like, just don't lie to me, I think like that is so powerful.
Yeah.
And then
they end up going out to the flight field and on
the secret tunnel.
Glad we did it. Thank you.
Okay. We're good.
Thank you. Thank you for entertaining us. They start talking about Dane, and okay, I have to do it.
Yeah, because I cannot talk about Dane, because I feel like all I've done has been like, oh my god, Dane, because I've been trying to act excited, but I really hate this man.
Also his fingers warm under my chin as he tilts my head up. There's a hint of panic in his eyes.
Yeah, because I feel like he is panicked. He is like scared for her and is like, where, like, are you actually okay? Like, what is happening here? And just kind of goes into the idea of like, go for it.
I'm so sorry. He undoes.
Oh. Yes, I did. I skimmed over it because I didn't know if you wanted to yell about that section or not.
Why would we not want to yell about this section?
You're right. How dare I? I was just going to be like, yeah, that's fine. We can talk about Dane now. We don't have to talk about that.
This is more important. Why talk about Dane? I feel like this is more important.
Okay.
So then he wants to like check out her side because he's like, you're bleeding.
Yeah.
And it hurts. And then he's like, let me see it. And then, is that a request or a demand? Fully clothed, I glance at the clock. Thank you. So yeah, Garrick is cleaning up the room now.
Yeah, Garrick and Bodhi are just like dragging bodies out.
Yep, and then she turns his back to Zayden, and she can see his face in the full-length mirror. And she's like, "Hey, that I don't know who that is." And then holding the material above my breast as it dips into the back, and she's like, "You're gonna have to." And he's like, "I know how to handle a corset." And then and then something that reminds me of raw hunger filters across his expression before he locks it down, drawing my hair over my shoulder with surprising gentleness.
I mean, if you think about what she is wearing at this scene, she's wearing underwear, the dragon armor breastplate corset thing, under a very sheer nightgown.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, I love the fact that she's a nightgown girly.
I am not. I used to be a nightgown girly.
Yeah, see, I am a nightgown girly, and I love it.
I mean, I wear nightgowns. I essentially wear nightgowns, but it's just like a short. Just like a shorter shirt. I'm too short for a nightgown.
Well, I love that for you. Regardless, I love nightgowns, and I love that she's a nightgown girly because, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm sure that she looked hot in that nightgown right there. Like, yes, there was some blood around. I'm sure there was, like, some blood smatter, but, like, a sheer nightgown, a corset, and, like, a small, tasteful underwear like that? Yes. I kind of agree with Zayden. I think my eyes would be like,
And now I have to undo the corset?
Yeah, and now I have to undo the corset to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so then,
you know.
His fingers skim down her skin, and she has to lock her muscles so she doesn't arch into his touch. And then she goes, "What the hell is wrong with me? There's still blood on my floor and my breasts. And yet my breasts are tight entirely for the wrong reasons," as he makes quick work of the laces. I
find that so funny that she literally finds everything that he does, like everything that this man does, she's like, I kind of just want to fuck him. Like, I really just want to have sex with him.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. How the hell do you get yourself into this thing every morning? And then she's like, "I'm flexible."
Yeah.
Our eyes meet and a warmth flutters through my stomach.
Aw, that little butterfly feeling.
Yeah. That's so cute.
It is. It's very
so cute. Gentle over his ribs, then pokes him, and then it's like, that'll be one hell of a bruise.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just, like, read the last line. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. What's the last line, Ashley?
You'll live, turn around, blah, blah, blah. And then my eyes widen. Zayden Ryerson is kneeling before me, his black hair at the perfect level for me to run my fingers through its thickness. It's probably the only thing that's soft about him. How many women have felt those strands between their fingers? Why the hell do I care?
I mean, I find, like, that to be, like, such a... It is like it's like a very fun feeling to wrestle with, especially like in terms of like dealing with crushes and things like that, you know, like when you have a crush and like you think about it and like her being like, I wonder how many women like ran their fingers through his hair, is like a very large sign of like kind of jealousy and just like the idea of being, you know, in a monogamous relationship. I feel like it's more like more likely to happen in like a monogamous type of relationship archetype.
Yeah.
So I do find like the little things that she's latching onto and getting like slightly more possessive about is funny to see and to hear.
Yes. And also, you're gonna have to walk through the pain, but we have to do it fast. He grabs my boot that taps my foot. Can you lift it up? He nods, and then he robs me of every logical thought by putting on my boots and lacing them one at a time.
Yeah.
Which is so sweet. And it... Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like this scene really gave me like a lot of like the dark romance vibes, where like, you know, mob boss coming in, murdering people, and then like
turning around and being like, "Let me put your shoes
yeah,
on."
and then turning around and like strapping like you know, doing the strap on like a woman's heel and zipping her up into a dress to like parade her around, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it in this scene really did give me like the dark romance vibes,
yes,
which I loved in like a fantasy because it's still very kosher. Like it's still very light. It's not. This is. Let me say this in the best way I possibly can. This is not a dark romance.
No.
And I want to make that extremely clear that I do
this
not
is not
think that this is a dark romance at all.
No.
And I do not think that this is even a dark fantasy book at all.
No. It's a war fantasy book.
Yes. But all I'm saying is it kind of gives me that same type of flavor or vibe. But I just want to be very clear that I do not think that this is a dark romance.
No, it is not.
At all.
Definitely not. And then, here, do you want to read the next couple?
Oh, I mean, I guess.
You're like, oh,
but I was like, not really. You seem like you had that going, kid.
I did, but it is nice to go back and forth.
It is fun, like, after he, like, laces up her boot, and he wraps my cloak around my collar and buttons it like I am something precious. And I thought that was just so sweet.
That's so sweet.
It's so incredibly sweet. Because, like, you see, like I said, this very, like, hard, surly man, like, protect you and want to, like, almost like cradle you and things like that, which I think is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And then now, after, you know, obviously she gets dressed and he clothes her, now they go to the secret tunnel.
Yeah.
So do you want to do it again?
Of course. Do it again. Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Good, thank you.
It was worth it.
It was. We gotta do it twice.
Yeah, we did get to do it twice, and it was very satisfying both times.
It really was.
And then, as they're moving down, she is like, "Can you not camouflage us or something? Like, can you not like put us in shadows?" And then he says, "Sure." Sure, because a giant black cloud moving down the hallway isn't gonna look more suspicious than a couple sneaking around. And then she just says, "Oh, good point. Not that we're a couple." He says, "Not that we're a couple." And then she's like in her mind being like, "Not that I wouldn't climb the man like a tree if sorry, I don't even think I can read the line. If prevented with the right circumstance." So, like, she openly is like, yeah, I would climb that man like a fucking tree. If the circumstances were right, obviously. If they were right, I would
climb this man like a tree.
Love that.
That's so funny.
I just thought that it was so funny. And then I also think that it's funny that she does mention like she's like, "In my defense, and in a sick and twisted way, this rescue was pretty damn hot."
Yeah.
Like she openly acknowledges like, "Hey, like, I don't know why I felt like that was really fucking hot, but it kind of was."
It kind of was.
Like,
in her defense, it was hot.
Yeah, in her defense, it was hot, and she acknowledges it, and it's okay.
Yes. And so then...
But, like, they're going on, and he does say, like, openly, because after, like, he's just been so gentle with her.
Mm-hmm.
He's been so gentle with her, and he says, "I'm not gonna baby you like Atos does."
Yeah. Because obviously Atos...
Mm-hmm. Like, he does, and he's just like, "I'm not going to do it." And she's still I think it's so kind of frustrating because she is still trying to defend that man with her fucking life. And it's like, he doesn't baby me. And I'm like,
what is that voice?
I feel like it's the voice that I do when I feel like Violet is just being a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, very valid.
Like she's just like not herself, and like she deserves a dumb voice at that point.
No, she does.
Because the fact that she really doesn't think that Dane babies her is insane to me.
Yes,
like she denies it. Like in these past couple of chapters, the amount of times that she has said that Dane doesn't baby her,
insane.
And then the amount of times that we see that he is babying her is crazy.
Every chapter. There's even one chapter that we don't really see him.
He does, and you know it. You hate it too, if the vibe I'm picking up is any indication. Or did I read that wrong? And that's what he says to her when she's like, no, he doesn't baby me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I agree, because the vibe that everybody is picking up is that she's over this babying shit.
Yeah.
That she's over it.
She's obviously over it. Like, it's so clear that she's over it. You know who else is over it? Me.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it's so clear to everybody else, but yet she's still sitting here defending him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm like, why are you defending him? Like, it's so obvious that you do not want this, because, like, you just don't. You just really don't. And, you know, it just... It kind of goes on, and
they're just talking about, like, the baby.
Yeah, and like, it says, like, he kind of turns his face away. I'm sorry. He turns his face away, and then it says, I shoot a look sideways at his incredibly gorgeous profile. And if you even think about suggesting that you sleep with me for safety from now on, and then he scoffs. Because they're kind of talking about, like, you know, the plan of how they're going to keep her safe.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, first of all, you're not going to be my guard dog. And obviously here she's like, well, you're not going to sleep in my bed either.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
even though she clearly really wants it.
Yeah, and then I love his retort to that. He scoffs. Hardly. I don't fuck first years, even when I was one, let alone you. And then she's like, she fires back, like, who says anything about fucking? I didn't say it. That's crazy. And then literally the next line is, but fantasizing about it doesn't count. And so it's so clear that she has fantasized about this man.
Let me see.
Like, it does. Like, that's what it says, like, right down there at the end of the paragraph.
Just gotta think about it.
And so, you know, they're like, they're trying to make this, like, casual, because obviously Zayden is concerned about her safety, because, you know, she doesn't...
That's great.
He doesn't want Taryn to die or to suffer any, like, harm, because, you know, you never know, Sigale might be suffering too, and then, you know, they all could die. Like, this is such a...
it's such a interconnected...
yeah.
Inconvenience.
Yeah, and then just, like, the fact that she's like, but fantasizing about it doesn't count. Literally, the page before, she's like, I would definitely climb that man.
I know, literally! Like, the line is here. It's up here. Like, literally the same, like, book
yes,
open.
within the same 2 pages. It's so funny how it, like, she does that. And then he kind of says, like, hey, like, you should maybe get okay with killing somebody. He's like, even if you're not, like, I know that you can't, but you should maybe kill that fly on the wall. Like, you should do that. Like, you should do that. And she, like, whispers it almost like a secret, and she's just like, I've never killed anyone before.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is just, like, such a hard thing to talk about.
Especially there where, like, killing is such a big thing, and it's...
yeah.
That's a very... sorry. Very open thing for her to say.
It's very open for her to say, and also, like, just extremely vulnerable, because when you're talking about being in a war college like this is, Yeah. You know, killing is the name of the game. Mm-hmm. You know, you're being trained to kill people. Yeah. And to be okay with killing people. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I do understand why she kind of, like, professes it like a little secret. Like, she's just, like, she's not necessarily ashamed about it, but she's just, like, I just haven't. And it's hard for me to basically, like...
get over, like, I feel like the first kill would be the hardest. Like, she, you know what I mean? Like, if you've killed no one, like, the first kill, it's the hardest. It's like the first time you go on the freeway is the hardest, then it gets a bit easier. And I've said it's a really weird comparison. What? Am I wrong?
What? No, you are not wrong, because technically... yes, that is a good, like, real world comparison to it.
How many people have killed people? Not many. How many people drive on the freeway? A lot more than people that have killed people.
I understand why you said it. It was just funny to think about the first thing that you thought of, like, an analogy for killing people was, like, going on the, like, driving on the freeway. Not even going to the DMV. It was driving on the freeway. You know?
I feel like that's more intimidating.
I just thought it was very cute. That's very cute.
Thank you.
We will stick with the freeway metaphor, and that's okay.
Thank you.
We're all on board with it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know, and now, like, they're kind of, like, going into the flight field and just, like, asking and Darna Xaden goes at Taryn pretty fucking hot.
Yeah.
Like, just goes at him and is like, what power are you channeling to her? And I need to know. Mm-hmm. And Taryn is like...
I haven't channeled yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
She doesn't have a power yet.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to think that, like, you know, he also says, like, it's absolutely my business, especially when you're expecting me to protect her. Mm-hmm. Like, you're expecting me to protect her, and you, like you need to tell me. And, Taryn just replies back, I got the message to you just fine, human. I love that Taryn is just, like, Xaden is, like, popping off, like, coming at him hot, and it's like, you need to tell me, and, like, blah, 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 blah. And Taryn is like, I mean, I told you the information, didn't I?
Yeah, he's like, I told you she was being attacked and you were there. Everything turned out fine. Yeah. Like, I told you, you're fine. Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, oh, well, like, if it was 30 seconds late, like, if I was, like, 30 seconds late, like, she would have been dead. And Taryn just says, well, good thing, it sounds like I actually gave you 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, Taryn is just so, like, well, it sounds like I gave you those 30 fucking seconds.
Yeah, like, hey, like, you got there in time. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then, you know, they're just kind of, like, going in, and would you like to mention it? Taryn also, like, you know, as Xaden and them are going off, says to Xaden, like, don't you dare read me, human, or you'll regret it.
Yeah. It's like, he doesn't, like, stop. Like, you can't read me. Like,
yeah, like,
I'm angry. Calm down.
Yeah.
And then, like, it kind of gets to be explained that, like, Andarna's a baby dragon. She's only 2 years old. She's not a hatchling, but...
Yeah, she's definitely not a hatchling, but she's definitely not, a larger adolescent, or even, like, an adult, like, because... You know, when we left off, a lot of people thought that, you know, she was a very young adult. That she was at least able to not be considered an adolescent.
Mm-hmm. And it's, so kind of going to explaining why, like, they don't bond, because, like, they have such uncontrol of their, like, channeling, because some people would abuse the baby dragon's channel because it just knocks them out for days or weeks. It could kill them if they overuse it. Mm-hmm. And so Andarna channeled the mind, or the time stopping.
Yeah, which I think is crazy that Darna stepped in on Violet's behalf without even being asked. She just felt the panic and acted. And I think that that's really cool and shows like how much their bond is building, especially for Darna to want to do that.
Yeah. And then, Xaden is hurt and he's like, Sigale, have you been keeping a hatchling from me? Have you not told me you're a mother? And she's like, of course not. Her parents died.
Yeah, just like Sigale is just so flippant about it. She's like, just like immediately, like, are you a mom? That is crazy. Yeah, why would you ever think that?
Yeah, and it's like, don't be ridiculous. You think I'd let my offspring bond while still feathered?
Yeah, like the way that she says that, she's like, no, that's fucking crazy. Like, you really think that I was gonna let that happen if that was really my kid?
Absolutely not. But she is kind of her kid.
She is.
It's the adoptive kid.
I feel like it's, yes, very much like that adopted kid. It's like almost like Sigale was like her aunt that like the parents, the sister of the parents, and like the parents passed away, and now you're just like the cool aunt that got the kid and was like, well, fuck, what am I supposed to do with it?
Yeah. And that, yes, I completely agree. Yes, absolutely. She is such the cool aunt.
Yeah, like Taryn and Sigale are like the cool aunt and uncle that like all of like the
kids absolutely
like the nieces and nephews like adore going to their house. They like get spoiled, like they, even if they're not spoiled, they get to do stuff and like run into walls because they weren't like, their parents like don't let them do that at their house.
Yeah, and then
they just say, go on, go have fun, like try not to kill yourselves. Like,
yep. And then, now they love the kid. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And then they kind of conclude like, we can't tell anybody. Like, this is a secret that we have to keep because people would kill her or use her.
Yeah, like people would hunt her down for this power and they would abuse it and then drain all of her power and then she would be gone.
And I mean, she's already so drained, like she's falling asleep in this conversation.
Yeah, like she can't even stay awake.
And so that was just for a couple seconds. Like, I can't imagine if like someone came and was like, let me just use all of it. Like, that'd be so, like, it would kill her. And so like they just kind of conclude with, this is a secret between all of us. Like, we don't get to tell anybody.
Yeah, they don't get to tell anybody. But then not only that is like, they openly say that this is not a signet power.
No.
That this is a feather tail power that is not a signet. So technically, Violet still does not have a signet.
Yes, she does not have a signet because feather tails change over time as they get older. Mm-hmm. And so as she gets older, the signet's going to change just because she's maturing. So we get to see what that signet is later on. Yeah. Which is fun. So then now, finally, we're on to chapter 20.
Wow.
This was a long episode. But this part is actually not too long. It's all kind of one big scene.
Yeah.
And so then, she calls Xaden poison.
Well, she says that
I can find it.
Xaden is poisoned, but she also says that certain poison bottles and certain poisons are packaged better than others. Like some are more appealing.
Yes, and then he doesn't even have to try to look sexy. He just is.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't have to. She. That is also like the other thing is like the fact that she is very much like Xaden doesn't even have to try to look hot. He just is hot.
Yep. And then it's like she hasn't slept with anybody else since coming to the writer's quadrant because she just wants Xaden.
Yeah. She really, really does. She just wants Xaden and she's just like, damn.
This sucks.
This really, really
sucks. Because he doesn't fuck first years.
No. Let alone her. So.
Yeah. And then we finally get to meet Liam. Liam was transferred into their squad. Mm-hmm. And I love Liam. He's so sweet. I really do.
I'm so glad that, like, a lot of people, I'm not gonna lie about this, a lot of people are very smitten with Liam.
I'm not smitten, but I just love him as a character.
And, like, they love him, and, like, they openly say, like, kind of spoiler alert, but, like, openly say that he is, like, a perfect written character.
Yeah.
A lot of people really do think that.
Do you agree? Do you not like Liam?
It's not that I do not like him.
He just didn't get much screen time.
But do I think he's perfect? Absolutely not. I'm going to be honest about it. And we can talk about it more as he, like, goes on. But I don't think he's perfect. At all. And I don't think that he's, like, the most perfect written character in the book at all.
I think you're confused on what the author meant by perfect.
Probably, yeah. Because I am like, I don't know.
Perfect meaning that he didn't have anywhere to grow.
Yeah, like he was a well-finished character. He was a well-finished character.
Yes.
I think by somebody being like, "Oh yeah, he was like a well-finished character," I'd be like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yes,
but
that's
with the fandom saying that he is like a perfect character,
no,
and that he is like, no, I'm gonna disagree. I don't think.
There's anything done.
I think he was like a really like. I think he is a well-rounded character and has like great story arc and builds the story. But do I think he is perfect?
No, I don't think any character is perfect.
Great. I'm so glad that we said. I think that you agree with me, because I am like, I know that a lot of people have opinions about him.
Yes, I mean, I do love him. I think he's a really fun character, and I love him and Violet's dynamic, like just that friendship that they do get over time. I really love their dynamic. Yeah. And I love him as a character, but he is not a perfect character, because there's no such thing as a perfect character.
Yeah.
That is my 2 cents. Anyway, and so then, you know, Violet's really upset because she's like, I don't need a bodyguard. Like, I can defend myself, and everyone's kind of like, you had 7 people attack you, bro. No one can really defend off 7 people in their sleep.
Well, yeah, but then also, like, Xaden says that. He's like, hey, well, Liam is a first year, and I cannot be with you 24/7 a day in all of your classes. But Liam, because he is a first year, can.
Yeah.
He can be there, and he is going to be there with you. And
yeah.
It is, like, one of those very things where we see Xaden get a little bit more possessive. Like, yeah, we saw it a little bit earlier when he was like, Imogen, you gotta go train her.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we're seeing it even more, where Xaden is now surrounding her with his people, almost.
Yeah. Like, hey, I know I trust these people.
Yeah, that he trusts in his, like, core group.
Yeah.
He's actually, like, pushing them onto her.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, she doesn't really get a choice, I feel, you know?
Yeah. And then, you know, they're kind of talking, kind of rearranging the team now, because Liam went there, so now, like, another person left. And then, Dane is upset that she didn't tell him about the attack, and
Dane is always bitchy.
Yeah, and then and she was like, he was like, why didn't you tell me? Is that what Ryerson meant by last night? And then she was so sorry, I didn't know why. He said, I didn't know, why didn't you tell me? And then she said, in her head, because you wouldn't have believed me even if I did.
Well, yeah, because I think, like, there's a big reason, like, why she didn't bother to tell Dane, like, right away, or even the morning after.
Yeah, it's because, like, you're not going to believe me, because also, like, who is it? Who orchestrated it? She's like, I know for a fact he's not going to believe me on who it was.
Yeah, which I think is, like, so telling of her to be so aware of that knowledge, especially, like, to be so aware of him.
Mm-hmm. And so then they kind of get, like, further, and they're in class at this point, and he, and then she just kind of goes, I miss sex.
Yeah. I think, like, there's just, like, a point where, they're just like, damn, I really fucking, I miss sex. And then, you know, Rhea is like, well, you can get sex anywhere, and it's okay. And then Riddick chimes in, and is like, yeah, let's do it. And then they're like, oh, well, I thought you were, like, in a relationship. Riddick, I thought you were in a relationship.
Yeah, but they're like, we're not exclusive. It's like Rihanna known what's her name.
The fact that like he throws that out her like at her is just so funny because he's like, oh, it's not like I'm exclusive with anybody.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like Ree and like that one girl that she kind of fucks on the side.
Yeah, I think Riddick finally got caught in Tyvon's bed. We love a bi king.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like one of those things where it's like Ree is bi too. It's not like necessarily like super talked about, but like Ree is technically sleeping with who, Tara or Tess. And that was the first person that, you know, she slept with at the college, and then she slept with Sawyer, and then no,
Riddick slept with Tyvon.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that Ree is also bi.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of bi representation. Yes, thank you. I'm caught up. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I was like, and then, you know, they're saying that, you know, Riddick obviously slept with Tyvon.
Yeah.
Who we're assuming is
male?
A male. Because of the name.
Yeah, but it could be non-binary or female. I don't know.
You never know.
But
nobody knows. But
due to the name, we're guessing male.
Yeah. Also, it just feels like Riddick would swing both ways.
Oh, 100%.
It feels
100%
like Riddick would.
100%.
So.
And then, Xaden climbs onto a stage. At this point, he's getting up on the stage.
Well, yeah, because they're kind of announcing...
like, what happened last night.
Yeah, that there was a breach of conduct, and that these people who attacked somebody, you know...
Yeah.
Because they broke the codex. Because attacking a fellow, like, rider in their sleep at Bathscaeth is illegal, and it's punishable by death.
Yes, and, so 7 of them did that. And,
but only one, like,
because
the 7 died, but,
yes,
you know,
there was
an 8th one that let them into her room.
Yes, and so then, she is upset. She's like, oh shit, like, this is about me. And Dane looks very confused.
Yeah, Dane looks very confused and upset, too.
Yes.
Like, he's just always upset.
And so then, Violet notes just like, oh, like, from what I've read, Fen Ryerson, like, Xaden's dad could command a room just like Xaden is. Like, he has that just prowess and presence on the stage. And she was like, the ability to hold and capture a crowd, but his words, the last words that led to Brennan's death.
Yeah, like, I just find that to be such an interesting place to put that. Because it is the idea of, like, oh, wow, like, his father also possessed this incredible, like, almost like superpower of commanding people and, you know, gaining people's attention and admiration and things like that. And, you know, his father went so far in this rebellion, and in her mind, his father's words is what caused Brennan's death.
Yeah.
Like,
and now she's kind of seeing that with Xaden. Not the words, but, like, just that presence.
But yeah, just, like, the overall commanding presence that you need.
And they, he kind of starts talking about, like, who was in the room. And then she's like, and he's like, the leader, is wing leader Amber Mavis. Which is the girl that, Dane had a bit of a fling with.
Whoop! I think it's so funny.
It's the one that, you know, after the gauntlet was like, you can't do that, actually.
Well, actually, part of the codex says that you can't do it.
That's exactly, thank you. And it's so, Dane is like, what the hell? And he's like, you need to stop him. And
yeah, like, he actually looks at Violet and says that you need to go up on that stage and stop him because he is lying.
Yeah. And also an important note of Amber's family stayed loyal to Navarre, so she wasn't forced to watch her parents executed and wasn't marked with a rebellion relic. Yeah. So her parents were a part of the rebellion, but then before they died, they went, hey, no. Like, we'll be loyal to Navarre. Don't kill us. And so they didn't go down with the rebellion.
Yeah, like, we will not die for this cause, as well as we will pull out so that our child will not be marked either. So, like, Amber could have very well would have been a marked child.
Yeah. And so then, Dane's like, Amber would never, a wing leader would never get up there and tell everybody that he's lying. Ugh, this man.
What an ass.
And so then she's like, he's not lying. Like, and he's like, it's impossible. And she's like, I was there. I'm the one that saw it.
Yeah.
And it's like the reality of his disbelief hurts. Like,
yeah,
just completely saying, oh, you're wrong then. He's wrong, you're wrong. No, because of the Codex, they would never.
Yeah, but, like, not only that is he is, like, saying, oh, because, she's a squad leader, there's no way that she would break the rules. Like, Amber loves the rules just like I do. Yeah.
And then, he was like, no, wing leaders are beyond reproach. And then she goes, then why are you so quick to call our own wing leader a liar?
Yes, queen.
Go off.
Pop off. Because I think that he needed to hear that, though.
Yeah, he did.
I really think that he needed to hear it, because the fact of the matter is that he is sitting over here being like, you need to go tell them that Xaden is a liar and that Amber would never do this because she respects the rules, and is going off about how, like, these people are, like, beyond reproach. Like, they could never lie about this. And I love that, because the juxtaposition of it is Xaden is their wing leader. Yeah. Xaden is the one in control. Xaden holds that title that he thinks is so above reproach and is so, like, stringent to the rules. So why is he, like, not part of the club?
Yeah, exactly. So and then, Amber's like, I have committed no such crime, actually.
Well, actually.
And then she's like, Dane's like, see? Tell him that you're, like, put a stop to this right now. And she's like, bro, like, I was there. Like, and then he's like, let me see the memory.
Yeah.
It was so much more aggressive than I remember.
Oh, I'm surprised that it was, like, more aggressive than you remember. Yeah. Like, he just, like...
You said it was more aggressive than you remember, too.
Like, it's just, like, I feel like it happened so much quicker
it was than like, I remember. Let me see. He lifts his hands.
And then he just, like, lunges for her.
Yeah, and then the shock of what he intends to do has me stumbling backwards. And then I shake my head and take another step back. And then he says, give me the memory. He's ordering her for the memory. And then he says, touch me without permission and you'll spend the rest of your life regretting it.
Yeah, and, like, that's so crazy that she now has to finally put a physical boundary down with one of her best friends. Yeah. And it's just, like, the fact that he lunges for her to try to, like, read this memory, I think it's just, like, so invasive. Yeah. Like, the fact that, not only did he think that he had the right to demand it as as her best friend, and then the fact that he did it as an order as her superior, you know? And I think, like, I find that so interesting that he's just so, like, you're wrong and I need to see it now. Yeah. And then... Like, I don't believe you either. Yeah.
Awful. And then she's like, but he loves rules. And then she's like, hey, can you, like, show her the... Like, show them the memories. Like,
yeah, she's asking Taryn now.
Show her the memories, but not the one when... Andarna is, like, stopping time. Just what they need to see. Yeah. So then...
Which I think is so important because, that helps them keep that secret. Yeah. In and of itself.
Yeah. And then, so they show the memory and Dane's like, you could stop all this right now. You have to. And then Amber's like, and it's like, I don't know what you saw, but it wasn't Amber. And then, she's like, you're using this to get revenge on my family for not supporting your father's rebellion. That was from Amber.
Yeah, to Xaden, which I think is crazy that she really, like she truly believed that he had such a vendetta against her for not being marked and her parents still living, that he, like, held, like, so much resentment that he was like, nah, we're gonna just blame her for this.
Yeah. And so then I was a bit wrong. And then now she's asking Taryn for the memory.
Yeah.
And she's like, actually, it's quite important, actually. Can you see my memories? Share them. And then Taryn says, a memory has never been shared outside of a mating bond. It's considered a violation. How interesting. Anyway. And then she says, Zayden's up there fighting because I told him it was her. Please help him.
Yeah, like she is pleading for Taryn's help, and you know, she knows that it is a violation, and she knows that like this could like put Taryn in a very like precarious place because
it's a dragon violation.
Yeah, like, you know, normally it's just them violating human rules, but this is like a dragon rule, you know.
And then you know, Rhee is like that spineless wrench. Like we love her.
Yeah.
Go off, queen.
Absolutely.
We love Rhee. And then it's Dane is paling. And then believe me now, you're supposed to be my oldest friend, Dane, my best friend. There's a reason I didn't tell you.
Yeah. And like, because like, you know, during that time, like after he does that, like, you know, Taryn does relent, shows them the memory. That's when Dane gets so pale. And you know, I love that clapback from her. She's just like, you know, there's a reason why, like, do you believe me now? Now, like, did you get what you want? You finally got to see the little bit of memory that you needed to satisfy yourself because you don't actually believe me.
Yeah.
You don't trust me. You don't believe me. And we're supposed to be best friends. And so what is that?
Yeah. Ugh. Seems exhausting.
It does. Well, first of all, it seems exhausting, but, like, I don't know. I think, like, that hurts a lot.
That does.
I do feel like that hurts a lot, like in a friendship, like to think about it, like, oh, just like thinking about it, being like, I didn't tell you because I knew I couldn't trust you. I didn't tell you because I knew you wouldn't actually believe me.
Yeah, and like
and or like sympathize with me or anything. Like just I knew how you were gonna react and you were gonna call me a liar about it.
Yeah, and it's like I can't imagine that being us. Like, you know, you're my best friend. Like, I'm so sorry. That would be awful.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be friends.
No, I mean, and like that's the thing is like I'm not really friends with people I don't trust.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of those things where it's like trust is one of the biggest key in any relationship.
Yes.
And a friendship is a relationship.
It is.
You know, two people that
put in the work.
Yeah, that put in the work to maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
And like to see that be so like in Violet's mind gets like very much solidified over these like chapters about like, you know, one, he kisses her on the flight field and then says that he likes her but he doesn't want to be with her because of the rules. And then he's like, still like, no, you still need to pick Darna because I don't trust you because I don't think that you can take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like keeps doing it throughout the whole thing. Like you're not strong enough. Like you're not doing this right. Like you're not surrounding yourself with the right people. Like you can only trust me. Trust me. Do this for me. Keep yourself safe for me.
That's not how life works.
But then also don't break any of the rules. Like I know that you didn't die on the gauntlet, but you, you know, you did it dishonorably. And I'm like.
So you'd rather have your friend die than break rules.
And it seems like he would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
He would have rather watched her die.
Imagine it was Dane up there and not Amber taking the roles. How would that have gone?
I know, which I think is crazy to think because I know for a fact that I really do think that...
He would have been pissed.
Yeah, but then not only that is, if the roles were reversed and it was Dane being accused and Violet was, you know, if it was Amber accusing Dane and Violet was in Dane's shoes, I don't know if she would have fought for him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with everything said, like all the things that he's recently said to her. I don't know if she would have fought for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then like because of that this is a punishable offense by fire. Like being literally burned at the stake pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Amber's now like, screaming for her dragon. Like, please, like, tell them to stop this. Like, stop this.
Yeah, because, like, all of the dragons are... So it's very interesting, the dragons that ended up coming. So, like, the dragons that ended up coming to witness this part is Sigale, Taryn, Clyde, and then I think it's Cars or like it's somebody else's. It's one of the professors. Like it's a green dagger tail that comes. I don't know which one it is, but
yeah.
Because Amber's is an orange.
Yeah. No, it is. What did you say?
I said Amber's has an orange dragon.
Oh,
and you said no, it is, and then you looked at me like I said something wrong, and I was like yes, and then you were like. And I was like, you literally just said I was right, so why are you looking at me like you're confused?
I misunderstood.
When you just confirmed that I was right.
And then, you know, Violet's actually begging for her not to be killed.
Yeah, begging Taryn.
Like, please, like, don't do it. And she's begging Xaden. She's begging everybody. And then he,
Well, and it's not really for Amber. It is for... her dragon.
Yeah.
It is for Amber's dragon. She's like, hey, you know what? I don't want to see Clyde suffer.
Yeah. And then Taryn says, I let someone live once and he almost killed you last night, Silver One.
Yeah. Taryn is upset and is like, I let somebody live and they literally just try to kill you. And then...
Yeah, and then it's justice is not always merciful.
I love that line.
That's such a good line. I
think that, like, that was such a beautiful line to end, like, one of, like, a bigger chapter with.
Mm-hmm. Like, a big section. This was a huge section.
Yes, it was such a huge section, but then also, like, the idea of, like, you know, Taryn telling her that it is so true, that justice is not always merciful.
Yeah.
And, like, justice is not always pretty. And I think we're gonna see a lot of that in the next books and in the next chapters, that we're going to see how justice can be flawed.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And then Taryn burns her alive.
Is it Taryn that actually does it?
Taryn leans low, extending his head. Yeah. Yeah, Taryn does it.
I kind of love that.
Yeah. And then, you know, I almost said Chad. Claude.
It's okay, we'll get there. Just 18 C names later.
And then Claude's in mourning. And it's just a high-pitched scream.
I think, like, that's crazy to think about, like, you know, like... It's an interesting thing that Navarre does, that Navarre really brings everybody out that's close to that person, that's available to watch that person die.
Isn't that wild?
Like, Clyde did not need to be there to see this human burned at the stake, like, to, like, see their human be burned.
No.
And to watch that bond being severed. And, like, I do think that, like, when you do hear of these dragons mourning, like, they actually mourn because they feel the pain, they feel the loss of that bond. And I do agree with Violet, it is heartbreaking to think about it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why she does plead for Amber's life, because it's not for Amber. Mm-hmm. She doesn't care or give a shit about Amber.
This sight breaks my heart, not for Amber, but for Clyde?
What is it, Ashley? You can read. I believe
Clyde.
Clyde?
Claidh.
Clyde.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe it's Claude. I don't know.
Clyde. I think it's Clyde.
I don't know. Regardless,
it was for Clyde, not Amber.
Yeah. That she, like, pled for this life, and I do think, like, that kind of just shows, once again, Violet's humanity and how merciful she is. And, you know, within this little, like, bulk section, we got a lot of strong characters saying to her, being merciful is a flaw, and justice is not pretty. Justice is not merciful.
Yeah, this is like, yes, it's been a big thing. I'm glad we had these 5 chapters together.
Yeah.
I think they were long. It was a long chapter. It's a long video. Mm-hmm. They were a good group to have together.
I do. I think that it was a great thing to be put together, because I think the overarching themes were so good and so well connected.
Here too.
Yes.
Like how perfect.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, we didn't end on a cliffhanger or anything like that. Yeah. So, I mean, next week we're gonna dive.
I'm going over one of my favorite chapters.
I'm so excited. I am so excited for you. So next week we're gonna be doing chapters 20 to 20.
Nope, 21 to 25.
You mean 21 to 26?
21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Sure, yeah.
She
can count more than I can. So we're going to do chapter 21 to chapter 25.
And my favorite chapter is in that section. Not my favorite chapter, but
one of her favorite chapters in the book is here. And we're very excited to talk about it.
Are you excited to talk about it?
I'm very excited to talk about it. But we will talk about it next time.
Next time. You gotta tune back in to see what chapter it is.
So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you really guys enjoyed. And so the only thing that we have to say to you is...
What did the void say to you? I forgot the words.